What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday night to you all. Hope everybody's doing well. Sorry about the late start there. Gonna have Ed on here in just a second, but we're having some technical difficulties on his. I've been trying to sort out, figure out, try to get the show on the road for you guys. But we're gonna try our best. He's switching to his laptop right now, so he should be in the room here in just a second. We may have to do some troubleshooting here live on the air. So just bear with us. We're going to try to get it on for Collecting the Dead, the third edition. We've had Paul Farber on, Lawrence DeVincent, our old buddy Larry, and then tonight we're bringing Ed Trader, Music and Entertainment. He joined us for the last Romero fan roundtable. I don't know, about a month ago or so, I guess now. And he mentioned that he had an entire cabin full of collectibles and stuff that he has collected over the years. So that immediately piqued my attention, caught me, and I was like, "We got to get you on. I got to see this cabin." So we're gonna do our best to see as much of it as we can tonight and see what all he's got and get to know the man himself. So looking forward to that. Hopefully, if we can get him on, the air, we can get through these technical difficulties. So hopefully it all works out. But until then, we'll just hang out, we'll chat, and wait for him to hop on and hopefully get it all worked out. But hopefully everybody's doing well out there. It's been bad news past couple of weeks, admittedly. Got some more bad news today. Found out today that Lori Cardille, Sarah from Day of the Dead, actually announced, or that's where I saw it, on her Facebook page, that Anthony DeLeo had passed away. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but yes, Anthony DeLeo, who of course most Romero fans remember as Miguel from Day of the Dead. He had passed away. Apparently had COVID, and apparently that's kind of what did it to him. But I met him back in 2021 at the Living Dead weekend that year when they had the last Day of the Dead reunion, and that was my one and only time getting to meet him, and just super nice guy. But I could even tell then, like, he was not in the best of health. So I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was actually hoping that he would be able to make it to this year's event for the 40th anniversary of Day of the Dead. I mean, it would only be fit that we would have Anthony there. And I was actually thinking about that at work. I was like, oh, because I saw that they had just announced that Deborah Gordon's going to be there, and I was excited about that because I want to talk to her about effects. So she'll be there, and I was just thinking, like, oh man, I hope Anthony DeLeo will be there this year. Oh, Miguel, I mean, of course. And to get that news today, it was just like, man, again, like, I'm tired of talking about bad news, guys. I'm just tired of bad news. Like, with the mall and the situation with the mall right now, and people dying and people being not in the best of health. It's just like, God damn, I started doing this channel because I wanted to have fun and talk about something that I love and I want to have fun talking about. And then it's like every week it's like something else. It's just like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I want to pay a little tribute to him. Like I said, I just found out today, so I didn't really have time to really prepare too much. But I mean, he was a Romero staple. I mean, not only Day of the Dead, but of course he had a role in Night Riders. He had smaller roles in Monkey Shines, Two Evil Eyes. He was the knife zombie in Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead. Worked with Romero for quite a few years there, and was pretty much beloved. I've never heard a bad thing about Anthony DeLeo from anybody. So that was really, really sad news to find out today. And it's unfortunate that that he is not going to be there this year. Gosh, you think about all the people that we've lost from Day of the Dead now. I mean, Anthony DeLeo, Joe Pilato, Gary Clark, Ralph Romero, Richard Liberty. I mean, there's so many iconic actors and characters from that film that are no longer with us, that are no longer here to celebrate, the 40th anniversary of that film. And quite a few of those guys never got to experience the resurgence of that film, the love of that film. I'm glad that Anthony did, but then you look at guys like Richard Liberty or Ralph Romero, and guys that were in that movie but never, the fans didn't quite love it the way they do now. Back before, because I mean, Romero God, that was like what, early '90s, early to mid '90s, I think, when he passed away. So, um, very, very unfortunate. Um, let's see, got Ed here backstage. Let me get Ed in here. Let's see if we can get this worked out. Let's see if everything's working. Ed, are you there, sir?
I am here and you are clear.
That is, you are so much clearer. That is so much better. How are you tonight, man?
I'm doing good. Just had to run over next door to my house.
That works. All right, let me adjust your settings here. I'm hearing a little feedback. I can hear myself coming on and on your end. If I'm coming through the headphones, yeah, I'm still hearing myself. Let me try this. I told you guys, bear with us. We're going to figure this out. Let me see.
How's that?
Let me try this. That's better. Okay, I can't hear myself anymore, so that's better. All right, I think we got the bugs figured out. We got it all taken care of. So,
Awesome.
all right. Welcome to the channel, sir. Appreciate. You've been here before, but for the roundtable, we haven't had a one-on-one discussion, and I want to get you on tonight. Like I was telling everybody when we opened the show in the roundtable, you mentioned your collection and your cabin full of shit, and I was like, well, I got to get you back on. I got to see some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what we can do here tonight. But how are you?
I'm doing very well. Getting ready for World War III around here.
Well, we may all be, but you never know.
No, the city hasn't passed a budget, so city employees are not getting paid since Christmas. So it's really tense around here right now. Really tense.
Yeah, our buddy Will works for the government right now, and he's going through some shit right now too. He works with the Social Security office, so it's like he's messaging me, telling me about all the shit that they're dealing with right now too. So, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yes, it is.
Let me go through the chat here real quick. I was just touching on the passing of Anthony DeLeo. We found out today, of course, Miguel from Day of the Dead. I got a really nice write up here I want to read for everybody because, like I said, I just found out today. I didn't really have time to really, plan too much for a tribute or anything for the man, but Michael Gornick actually posted a really, really beautiful tribute to Anthony today on Facebook. I want to read for everybody. But before we get to that, let me get to the chat, see who all is in here tonight. It looks like we've got a pretty packed house for tonight. So there's the man himself. Synth Addict is here. What's up, Synth? Good to see you, sir. Hey there. I have enough trouble collecting synths. Not much memorabilia, I'm afraid. Yeah, I think your all your money goes to your synths and all that collection. So, but I mean, that's cool shit to collect too. I'm pretty envious of a lot of that stuff. So, is asking Alpha, did you sort out that coax F plug connector issue? I haven't yet. I haven't ordered it yet. I found it. I found what you directed me to. Basically, talking about hooking that TV up to a VCR and getting it to play something. And Synth kind of figured out what I'd need to do that. So I'm going to get onto that. And I'm going to see what I can do with it. I think we can do some cool shit with it. But it would be nice to see a Dawn TV footage playing on a real TV, unlike the matted in shots in the actual movie. Yeah. I got some ideas and some plans for it in the future, but I'm working my way towards that. But I should have known. I should have known that Synth would have had all the answers on how to get that shit to work. Since my tech guy, if I got a tech question or how to work something out, Synth's the guy to go for it. Matt Landrum, what's up, Matt? Good to see you, man. Hey guys, hope everyone is having a good weekend. Yeah, as good as it can be. I'm on call this weekend, so I may get called out for something, but I'm not a doctor, but it's the importance level is not quite the same as a doctor, but it's overtime. It's time and a half, so I'm cool with that. Since I still think of Hawaiian music when I hear a pedal steel guitar, that's interesting. Well, from the South, when I hear steel guitar, like pedal guitar, like it's country music, man. It's Broadway, it's Nashville, and you're Arkansas, so you know what I'm talking about, man.
Sure got a pretty mouth.
Yeah, when I hear steel guitar, when I hear steel guitar, I start getting my butthole clenches just a little bit. Squeal, Peggy. Robert, what's up, man? Robert Harbert's the second. Hello, all. Got Robert in here tonight. John Vulo, the man himself. What's up, man? Good to see John as always. Rick, the North Going Llama. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Kirk Redgate finally made a live stream. What's up, bud? Stopping by before I fall asleep. Have a good stream. I'll be watching the rest tomorrow, as always. I appreciate it, man. Always good to. It's good to see you in a live chat. Finally, that's really cool. Kirk's all the way over across the pond, as they say over in the UK. So it's dead of night over there. So I appreciate you stopping in, man. Saying hi. Since then, I'm a tad choppy as well. Hopefully that'll clear up. I could try. I think I know what does that. I've been messing with it over the past couple of streams, but we'll see if it clears up. If it doesn't clear up, let me know, guys. And I think I know how to take care of that issue. Down is up. What's up, man? Good to see Down is up. What's up, everyone? Hope all are enjoying their weekend. It's snowing here in New York City. Well, there you go. Now, it's just been raining and dreary and miserable here in Indiana. So, Bonnie Bailey, what's up, Bonnie? Good to see Bonnie as always. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I guess everybody's reacting to the passing of Anthony DeLeo. Well, holy shit, me is in here. What's up, gang? It's always good to see me. I love me some me, as Terrell Owens once said. But what's up, me? Yeah. R.I.P. Mr. DeLeo, absolutely. Mayor saying, hey, everyone. What's up, Mayor? Now, me, there's no way. Greg Nicotero checking in to say hi. There's no way this is Greg Nicotero. If this is Greg Nicotero, what's up, Greg? What do you, I don't know. What do you think, Ed? Is this Greg? You think it's Greg?
I seriously doubt it.
Under the alias of me.
Better than you, I guess. I don't know.
Well, let's pretend. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Rick, yeah, it's been shitty. It's been a shitty month with the news of the mall and all that's going on with that. And then finding out about Anthony DeLeo today. It's just one piece of bad news after another. It sucks, but since a nice big Deborah Gordon fan, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to her about effects more than anything this year. I've become more and more a fan of that movie every time I see it, and I appreciate her more and more every time I've seen it. Have you seen Effects, Ed?
Yes, I have. Actually, I got some info to send you later.
Okay. What is it?
Well, I figured out why it did not get a huge release. The person who released it stopped releasing movies and moved into television and just abandoned all their movie projects. You ever seen the show Night Flight from the 80s?
Yeah.
It had music videos and all that. The same guy that created Night Flight was the distributor of Effects.
Oh.
Like I said, he just totally cut out his movies, went straight to TV.
Huh. Well, that makes sense. I did not know that. I didn't know that the same guy that does Night Flight was the same guy that was. Huh. Well, there you go. We're already learning something new. Good job. Oh, hang on a second. Just caught this. I'm trying to catch on these a little quicker. I'm gonna hit it for you, Brian. Here you go, Brian.
You never know. Money, money, money.
$10 super chat from Brian Stahl. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Robbing the bank with you, my man. I need that we're just shaking hands, taking that picture. That's got to be a photo op one day. One of these days, I'm gonna just set up my own little booth at a convention and have a photo op. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Let's see where I was here in the comments here. Brandon Salisbury, what's up, man? Of course, the director of George A. Romero's Resident Evil, which is available now on Amazon and all over. My man's, celebrating the success of that, I'm sure. Hey, Alvin's been quite the month so far. Yeah, it really has. 2025 is I don't have a good feeling about 2025 from the mall and Anthony DeLeo's passing. Like, yeah, it's not a good start. Not a good start. And I thought last year sucked with Imge when we lost David Imge, but it's just it's not fun. Not a fun conversation to have. Was that the N in K and B? Yeah. Nicotero's the N in K and B. Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Berger. For any of you guys that don't know, there you go. Yeah. Nicotero agrees. I'm just gonna say it's Nicotero. I don't give a shit. It may be. I mean, look, he's commenting here. Hang on. Me says, I remember when we shot his death scene in Florida. He got spooked because there were buzzards circling. That's interesting. I've never heard that story. If that's a true story, I'm buying it. He says Tim was a great guy. Very cool. Okay. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna say
why not?
I'm gonna say Nicotero's in the house. I'm gonna go with it. Very cool. John says, I was helping Tim at Living Dead Weekend 2023 around with his wheelchair. I was happy to help him around, but it made me feel upset at times. Yeah. Like I said, when I met him in 2021, I could tell like his health was not the best. He was still a very, very nice guy, very charming guy. I posted a picture that I took with him at that event and just very, very super nice guy. But I could tell like he was not in the best of health. And that's why I was thinking like, oh man, I really hope. Hopefully he'll be there this year, but unfortunately, condolences to his family. Yes. Let me see. Asking about the Syntax, of course. Brad, what's up, man? 1911 guitar dude. R.I.P. DeLeo. I was lucky enough to get his autograph card out of a Fright. Oh, that's cool. Fright Rags trading card pack. Was really hoping he'd be at the 40th anniversary of Day at Living Dead Weekend. Yeah. Unfortunately, he won't be, and that's going to be something I think that's going to be kind of because I know him and Lori were pretty close, pretty good friends, and like I said, that's who I found out that he had passed away from was her Facebook page. She was the one that first posted it, so yeah, it's tough. Brandon says we carry the burden of having to watch our idols pass away. It is so important to show they are loved while they're still here. I totally agree with that. I say that all the time. 100%. John says he wanted to buy a pipe and some paper, so I bought it for him. Seeing the shape his car was in, I felt he needed every dime he could get. And that's unfortunate. Wish things were better for him at the end. Yeah, I didn't know what his situation was or how he was doing outside of just meeting him at the Living Dead Weekend. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I hate to hear that. Larry's in the house. What's up, Larry? Larry says, "Okay, I'm ready to see the collection." I like to see what people have. There you go. Of course, if anybody's into seeing collections, it's Larry because he's got a hell of a collection himself. So, Brand says that is wild. Would have been a good shot seeing the buzzards. Yeah, that would have. I've often thought of that. Like that would be a great little shot or a scene in a zombie film is buzzards just swooping in and just like attacking them as they walk because it's just dead flesh. They're just walking.
Absolutely.
It's like I can't recall ever seeing that. Maybe it's out there. Maybe somebody's done it before, but I've never seen it. Kirk's asking Brandon any news on a UK release of the Resident Evil doc. Brandon says the European release is the end of the month. If you don't want to buy the German release, USA is making a region-free Blu-ray. Not sure what European distributor is doing. So there you go. So if you're overseas in Europe, the George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary will be available at the end of this month. And I'm looking forward. I guess US is doing a region-free Blu-ray, so that's good news. I'm not sure. I guess that'll be towards the end of the year, Brandon, if I'm assuming. John says Gornick's write-up was incredible. Yeah, I got it right here. I'm going to read it here in just a second, and then just pay my little tribute, I guess, to Anthony DeLeo. So, okay, since saying I'm clear now. Okay, cool. Hopefully we got all the bugs worked out. So, Kirk saying, cool. I want to watch ASAP, so I'll rent it as soon as it's available. Also buy the US Blu-ray. There you go. Yeah, highly recommend it. I mean, have you seen the Resident Evil documentary yet?
It's on my list.
It's available on Amazon now. It's available in a couple other spots. I think it may be on YouTube too. But it's really, really good. Like,
Yeah.
you can tell the passion that was put into it, and you can tell that that Brandon's a huge Romero fan, a huge Resident Evil fan. And were you a big fan of the games back in the day?
The original games, PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, I probably played them up until about. I think the last one that I played was 5, maybe Resident Evil 5. I think there's. I don't even know how many there are now, but
I got about 3 myself.
yeah, because I mean that's what got me into Romero and zombies and that, because I was I was probably like 10, not 10 years old or so when I first played Resident Evil, and I was like, holy shit, like, this is cool. Who are these people that attack you and eat you? And they're like, oh, they're zombies.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is a zombie? I didn't know at the time. But yeah, great documentary. Highly recommend it for everybody out there. Since I'm speaking of super chats, I'm annoyed by some pending ones on my channel I can't access yet, apparently due to being under one case of I don't know how that works on YouTube. Like, I'm still figuring out YouTube as we go along. I just recently figured out how to turn on super chat, so I was like, I'll turn these on and see if anybody uses it. But so yeah, I'm still learning how this whole thing works and the algorithms and all that shit. It's a science.
Well, I think now it's 500 subscribers, then you get super chats, but it's 1,000 before ad revenue kicks in.
Okay,
that's how it worked on mine, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just messing with it. Got probably about a month ago or so. I was just looking at all the options. I was like, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
But it blows me away anytime I get a super chat or anything like that, because I never expected. Like, when I started doing that, I was like, that'd be one day, far fetched, But so I'm blown away anytime anybody sends me a super chat. So I mean, me is saying that he's here. He's Greg. I guess we'll find out. Larry says if me is really Greg, me should text me right now to prove it. There you go, and Larry will confirm. So we'll see. Okay, holy shit, it really is Greg. Awesome, very cool. Well, what's up, Greg? Mr. Nick.
Greg, I'm such a huge fan, Greg. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm about to fanboy out here. Very cool. Greg, you was the first person I ever met at a convention at 2008 Texas Frightmare weekend. He was the first guy I went up to, and I tell that story. Greg remembers this with him and Savini at that panel. It was the first panel I ever went to, and I was so just like, oh my god, I'm meeting my heroes type of thing, and Greg and Tom are up there talking, and then Tom's like, and I'm sitting there in the front row. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then Tom's like, all right, let's open it up for questions. Anybody have a question? And I just blurt out, like, I don't raise my hand or nothing. I'm just like, oh my god, he's asking for a question. I have 1,000 questions. Here's one. I'm just like, oh, what was it like working with Joe Spinell? And Tom was just like, raise your hand. And I was just like, yes, Mr. Savini, what was it like working with Tom? So that, yeah, I'll always remember that. That's super cool. Greg saying, especially since George's birthday was just a few days ago. Yeah. And finding out about, Walmart buying them all and all that on it was pretty much it was the day before, right on George's birthday. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, what a way. John says, cool surprise. Greg, I still got to talk to you about guitar, since I didn't at Mass when I was with Jim and the Night of the Living Dead crew. Okay. Let's see. Since then, DeLeo even seemed a little frail in the famous panel many years ago with Sherman, Savini, Tasso, and all at Simconis on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know what his health situation's been like for quite some time. Like I said, when I met him in 2021, he seemed like he was struggling with something, but like I said, still just super, super kind guy. Very, very sweet man. Greg saying, we just buzzards eating a walking zombie on Daryl Dixon season 3. Okay, there you go.
Awesome.
So it has been done. Steven Eustrack Jr., what's up, man? Good to see you. R.I.P. Miguel. This whole fucking unit is collapsing. A legendary movie and performance. I agree. And I have a clip here I want to play to kind of my favorite scene from Day of the Dead that I think really shows Anthony's range that he has in that film. Because, I mean, he's playing this character that's just collapsing on all levels. I mean, you know, he's angry one minute and then just breaking down the next minute, and then just I don't think his performance really gets talked about enough, but I mean, just the way, because I guess he gets, you know, knocked out unconscious and is out for a lot of the major scenes where, you know, Rhodes is, you know, doing Rhodes's thing, but yeah, great performance from Anthony DeLeo and Day. Greg says, I have the designs we did for George on his Resident Evil movie. Yeah, didn't they show some of that? I think they showed some of that in the documentary. I don't know if it was, or no, I think it was the designs for the Tyrant, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen that movie, George's version of Resident Evil, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get it. You know, we didn't get that version.
Yeah.
The version we got is, you know, the version we got. But I mean, I've often thought, like, I don't know your opinion on this, but like, what would have George's career been if he had made that Resident Evil? Would we have gotten a Land of the Dead or any of his other zombie movie, or would he just be the Resident Evil guy from that point on? Because the game itself, the popularity of that game at the time was so that whatever movie came out, the popularity was there to make it, because those movies made a ton of money. The movies that actually got made, those movies made a ton of money, but they're not great movies or anything, but they made money because it's a Resident Evil, it's a franchise movie. So what do you think? Do you think George would have just been the Resident Evil guy at that point, or do you think George would have just said, I made one, I'm good, I'm going to go do my own thing now?
Well, I found it interesting. He made more money in the 90s on movies that he did not do than money he made in movies he did do. Like The Mummy, Resident Evil, millions of dollars for scripts and developments. They never got made, and that was the most money he ever made.
Yeah.
But I do think it would have been a division between Resident Evil and his Dead films, because Resident Evil has more quote-unquote monster zombies, while his Dead films were more realistic. So that would have been a pretty big division right there.
Yeah. Yeah, the Resident Evil games were pretty much horror games with zombies in them, but they weren't strictly horror or zombie games or zombie movies, I guess. So it would have been something different, but I'm just curious of, you know, where his career would have gone after that. We probably wouldn't have gotten Bruiser, which I know a lot of people, Matt, Larry, I know a lot of people probably wouldn't have given a shit about, but I love Bruiser. I think Bruiser is it's the best thing that he did post Day of the Dead, in my opinion. But Rick saying, hoping for an exciting Super Bowl tomorrow, KC versus Eagles. There you go. Who do you got tomorrow? Are you a football fan at all?
I think Eagles are going to take it.
Eagles? I don't know, man. Those
by an inch. I
think the refs are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You ever seen The Longest Yard?
The original or the new, like the one with Adam?
Both of them.
I've seen the original like years and years ago.
What did they do to the ref?
Yeah, that's true. That could be a possibility.
No, that would be a highlight right there.
Just show that on ESPN after the fact. That's a visual for you. Let's see, Brian saying, Nick and Tara, hoping your schedule clears to do the interview for the documentary's director's cut. There you go. That'd be cool. Love to hear that. Brian says, I know you've been busy, but I know Steve Barton was reaching out a bit ago for the next. Okay, so it's a little bit of communication going back and forth here between Brandon and Mr. Nicotero. Since then, nice to have Greg here. Been following you since Day and Evil Dead 2 stuff. Amazing body of work. I was also pre-med. There you go. Yeah, I always think that's cool. Nicotero was pre-med because I think, you know, his dad was a doctor and he was kind of following that. And he was just like, actually, I'm going to go make monsters. It's like, all right. It's pretty awesome. Guys upset other than Speedy. Greg, you're awesome. So Greg's getting all the love in the chat tonight. Rightfully so. Greg said he had been sick for many years, sadly. There you go. Yeah, like I said, 2021, I mean, I could tell like he was not in the best of health. So yeah, it's just very unfortunate. John says, I'm disappointed in myself because I forgot to ask him about being Timothy Hutton's personal assistant on Dark Half. Yeah, I wonder how that was. Because I know Timothy Hutton was kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. I know George has talked about what a pain in the ass Timothy Hutton was to work with on the Dark Half, but I wonder what that would have been like being his personal assistant and having to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. Let's see. Since then, Miguel's epic "fuck you" to Rhodes crew and day was nice. Yeah. Let's see here. Trying to jump around a little bit, fellers and ladies. Since it was fun at Living Dead Weekend last year to see Greg comment in person on the day photos at Ankas's table. Yeah, I did see that good stuff in one of my YouTube videos. There you go. Brian said Stillers, but go Birds. There you go. Hey, it's Pennsylvania. You know, Pennsylvania. Stick with Pennsylvania, I guess. Stillers. Matt saying, Greg, all film geeking aside, Nick and Norman's is fucking delicious. My family and I eat there all the time. There you go. Yeah, Matt mentioned when we went to visit Matt in Atlanta. When we went to that convention we were planning on trying to go to Nick and Norman's, but we kind of ran out of time because we ended up getting to Atlanta way later than we planned to. We were going to do it that Friday before, but didn't get a chance. We were stuck in traffic right outside of Chattanooga for like 2.5 hours. So, yeah, Greg saying it was Tom and George's fault that he dropped out of medical school and became, and you know, I guess you made the right decision. So I mean, I think you've done pretty well for yourself. So, but very cool. But good to see everybody in the chat tonight blowing it up. Even fucking legends like Greg Nicotero in here tonight. So it's very, very cool. But before we get started, looking at your collection, seeing what all you got, and some stories that you want to tell, and about, because I mean, you got so much stuff. I mean, you've had to be collecting for a long time.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in just a second. But I mentioned a second ago, I wanted to read the write-up that Mike Gornick did for Anthony DeLeo that I saw on Facebook, because it was beautiful write-up. So I just want to read this for everybody. It's from Michael Gornick's Facebook page under what was it? Ronald Gorewood is his name on Facebook. I don't know why, but it reads, Anthony DeLeo, a talent beyond measure. The world of performance is filled with those who try, those who dream, and those who simply are. Tim DeLeo was the latter, a rare breed of actor whose talents weren't just honed, but seemed to be embedded in his very soul. Acting wasn't just something he did, it was something he became. Whether on stage, on screen, or even in the smallest, most spontaneous of moments, Tim carried an energy that was transformed every role, every note, and every scene into something beyond performance. It was truth. I was fortunate to witness Tim's gifts firsthand. His presence both on and off screen and film set commanded attention not through force or ego, but through sheer magnetism. He could steal a scene with the smallest glance, the perfect inflection, or the way he inhabited a character with such seamless authenticity that you forgot there was ever a script involved. His musical talent was equally striking. His voice, whether speaking or singing, had a richness that made any note or lyric feel deeply lived in, as if he had plucked it from a place of personal truth and offered it unfiltered to the audience. But beyond the talent, the raw, undeniable skill, there was Tim, the person, the friend, the soul who brought warmth, humor, and boundless creativity to those lucky enough to share space with him. He wasn't just a performer, he was a storyteller in every sense, making even the smallest conversation feel like something worth remembering. He had a way of making people feel seen, valued, and entertained all at once. To say that his talent exceeded most is no exaggeration. There are those who study, train, and chase greatness, and then there are those, like Tim, for whom greatness simply was. It was radiated from him, whether he was on stage or simply sitting among friends. Now, as he moves beyond this world, I hope he finds himself in a place where stories never end, where music fills the air effortlessly. I can't say that fucking word. Effortlessly. Cut that out. And where he can continue to perform, not for an audience, but for the sheer joy of the craft that he embodied so beautifully. May he find rest in the adventures of the world of eternal peace. But if I know Tim, rest won't mean stillness. It will mean another stage, another song, another story to tell, and somewhere, somehow, we will hear his voice again. Michael Gornick. So, I mean, it
Wow.
doesn't get much better than that. And got a clip here. I think my favorite scene of his from Day of the Dead that I want to play just to commemorate, just to kind of show his range and his acting ability. So here it is. I'm gonna play. There you go. The great Anthony DeLeo. Rest in peace, sir. Thank you for giving us the performances that you did and giving to George's work and making George's work come to life. I mean, you can just see it in that scene there, just the range, just that performance. I mean, his character is collapsing. I mean, you're collapsing from stress, like he's, emotional 1 minute, crying, angry 1 minute, violent, lashing out. Like it's just that scene there, that whole range of emotions is just, it's just fantastic work from him. So it's a big loss, and it's it's unfortunate, but I guess it's part of life,
Yeah.
Bonnie Bailey saying that's a lovely tribute. Speaks volumes about who he was and what he meant to people. There you go. Very, very true. Yeah. Kirk joined on the right night. Glad I joined tonight with Greg in the room. Big fan. Would have missed this. There you go. See, you never know. You never know who's going to show up. You never know who's going to show up on a Alpha Romero live stream, by God. Since then, thanks again for your film, Brandon. I would have preferred George's Resident Evil version. Paul W.S. Anderson's a hack. I think we can all agree with that. Although the Mortal Kombat movie is not bad. Well, I'll say that. The Mortal Kombat adaptation is not too terrible. Brandon, thank you. My goal was to always show the merits of George's script, and for the Resident Evil fans, introduce them to George and why he was so loved and admired by many, including me. That's perfectly summed up there, because I think you hit the nail on the head. Like that's exactly what you did with that movie. I feel like, because I feel like there's probably a lot of Resident Evil fans, like fans of the games and maybe even fans of the movies, I guess, that'll check that out and be like, oh wow, this Romero guy. Like the younger fans that are just like, oh, this Romero guy, I always heard about him, but I didn't know like that people cared that much, like, oh shit, I would have loved to have seen that movie. Greg saying that was day 2 of filming. Pretty cool. Yeah. 41 fucking years ago. Yeah, it's crazy to think. Because I remember the first time I saw Day of the Dead, like I felt like it was still fairly new. I mean, it was still 20 years old at that point. No, it was earlier than that, I guess. It was probably 15. That was probably 15 years after it had come out when I first saw Day of the Dead. And it felt like that was very recent because I was already aware of like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is a more modern zombie movie that Romero did. But yeah, now it just makes me feel fucking old. John said I knew you'd pick this scene. Also fits the music fits very well here. Yeah, I mean, look, John, you can talk all the shit you want about John Harrison's score for Day of the Dead, but it hits right, man. It hits right in the right scenes, and that's another great example. Brandon says it was really was a real well-written tribute. Anthony's role in Day is unforgettable. Watching a man collapse under the weight he carries, I can feel that as a combat vet. There you go. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough role to play because you can either go too far one way or the other. You can be too much of an asshole to where people don't care about you anymore, to where people are like, oh, I hope he dies. Or you can show that vulnerability and just the pressure that he's under, that he shows at the end of that scene there, where you feel sorry for him. You kind of pity him, kind of in the same way that, Sarah kind of pities him at that moment. She's just like, man, he's gone, Steven says, welcome to the chat, gut boy. Wow. Don't be mad at me, Greg. Savina gave me $5 to write it. There you go. Love your work and glad you made it here tonight. Gut boy. Kirk says, good scene. I love the soundtrack of Day. Amazing. There you go. Rick saying hello to all who joined us. Since then, I used to tinker with makeup effects due to Tom's books and your output in various films, but decided I had less time to devote than needed due to too many hobbies. It was fun, though. Yeah, that's one thing about you, Synth. You do have a lot of hobbies, and you have a lot of intensive knowledge about a lot of different shit. So, I mean, you're just the ultimate, What do they call jack of all trades? There you go, jack of all trades. Bunny's didn't tell me about it. I was 18 when it came out, and so nah. Well, as they say, if you're not getting older, you're already dead. So embrace it. Riverman, what's up, man? What's up, Riverman? Good to see you in here. Any word on Day getting a 4K? I haven't heard anything specific. There's been like no real rumblings. I mean, there was always the scuttlebutt about whether the original negative was lost or if it had been found or where the hell it was. But I've heard rumbles that it has been found. The original camera negative for Day of the Dead has been found. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything. There's been really no word on it, but that's kind of one of those that everybody out there is wanting. That's kind of what everybody wants. So although I mean the Scream Factory Blu-ray looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But so I mean I'll be curious to see how much better it can look on 4K. John says, Bonnie, I was 2. There you go. It opened not too far from me here in Hicksville. That was a big surprise, but UFD's headquarters was on Long Island. There you go. So, yeah. When Day came out, I was -3. So I was still swimming around in my dad's balls. So maybe he went to see it. I haven't asked him. My uncle Mark, who I talk about all the time on here, maybe he watched it, or my dad was around or something. Maybe it kind of got into the DNA a little bit. I'm not sure, but yeah, there you go. So all right. So before we get into your collection, before we start looking at stuff, I do this with every new guest here on the show on a one-on-one conversation. 10 questions with Ed Trader, music and entertainment. Are you ready for this? Put you on the spot.
Ding, 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 roll. All
right. Question number 1. Favorite Romero film?
The Original Night.
Okay, there you go. Original Night of the Living Dead. What about the Original Night that makes it your favorite?
We just think about it. Just that movie's just perfect, but it's not perfect at the same time.
I get exactly what you mean by that. Like, yeah, it's flawed, but it's like it kind of gives it its character. Yeah.
Like you couldn't write or create the flaws are there, but it's just amazing. And also who's right and who's wrong. Before that, who really done that in movies? I mean,
Yeah.
you want to be at Dwayne, he's proud, but he's wrong the whole time. Heavy's right, go down.
Which Ben eventually does.
Sometimes you just got to go down.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a second.
Okay.
Question number 2, best Romero film. What do you feel like is Romero's best film?
I want to go with Day of the Dead.
Okay.
I think it's edited perfectly. Just everything's just perfect about it. Tom Savini's effects are perfect. I can't find no flaws in it.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the height of everybody's,
the whole crew just
yeah,
like this.
Yeah, and I mean, Greg in here. I mean, we've talked about before, like the crew that was on Day, the effects crew. Like Savini was the top guy, but you look at everybody that was on that crew; they all went off and did amazing things after Day of the Dead. So
all-star team.
Yeah, it really was. So I can buy that answer. I think that's a good answer. Third question: least favorite Romero film.
Probably The Dark Half.
Okay.
Not to say I don't like it, just out of everything, be the lowest one.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of that period there. I'm not the biggest fan of either. Monkey Shines, Two Evil Eyes, Dark Half. Like I appreciate them, and I don't think that they're bad films, really. But they just don't grab me the way that a lot of Romero stuff did. Like especially like his 70s era stuff. Like that's.
Yeah. Well, with Monkey Shines, I'm just always confused. Did he misdiagnose his back injury on purpose so he would get the girl? Or did he miss it on accident?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know if that was ever really explained. But yeah, that's a good point. He may have. He may have just been too distracted by the girl to really focus as much as he should have. But yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought of it that way. Question 4. Most underrated Romero film.
Oh, that's easy. Night Riders.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I think nobody can argue with that. In fact, nobody ever saw it in theaters, basically. I mean,
hey, since saw it in theaters.
Did he?
Yeah. That's kind of the running joke. Is like since saw everything first run in the theater back in the day, so he's the only guy I think that was there to see Knight Riders. Question 5: favorite performance in a Romero film?
Howard Sherman, Bub.
Ooh, that's a good. That's got to be up there for me too.
He's human and zombie at the same time. You know, he's a
And
dog, he's a baby, he's an infant, whatever. It's just a great performance.
yeah, it's the first time because like I've said before, like when I first saw Day of the Dead, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because I was wanting Dawn of the Dead again. Like I was like, oh, this is not what I was wanting. But that was the one thing that really stuck to me is the Bub character. It was the first time that I felt sad and like felt something for a zombie,
Yeah.
in any movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking scene. And speaking of the music, that music cue when he hits, he's like, it's perfect. But yeah, that's a damn good answer. Question number 6: favorite non-Romero zombie film?
Probably Burial Ground.
Burial Ground. I did not see that one coming. What about Burial Ground do you like the best?
You got the man child and the mother. I mean, come on, what's not to love? I'm from Arkansas, so I see that every day.
Jesus Christ! Oh man.
Plus, I like how they stand there and zombies are coming.
Yeah.
Ah!
That movie's a fucking trip. I'm with you. I like that movie a lot. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's a fucking trip. Like it's really entertaining. But I love cheesy Italian zombie films anyway.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one. I was not expecting that one either. Question 7: favorite Romero score or soundtrack?
Actually, I want to go Day of the Dead on this one.
There you go, John. John Vula, what do you think about that?
Because when I hear that soundtrack, I hear the Police. They did synthesizers with Caribbean music mixed in. I don't know if that's where John was getting it from, but I hear a lot of the Police, like the Ghost and Machines album. And you ever heard that one?
Oh,
that's what I hear.
I never really thought about it that way either, but yeah, I can definitely see that. I went through a period there for like a year. I was really into the Police. It was probably late teens, early 20s or something like that. But yeah, I never really thought about it. Yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that. Favorite non-Romero score or soundtrack?
Well, just a score or actually a soundtrack with songs in it?
Either.
That's a very good question. There's always Star Wars. There's always Jaws. I like this movie from 1985, Dead End Driving from Australia. You got the really mid-80s synth sound to it.
I've been hearing everybody mention. I saw a comment earlier where somebody was mentioning like, "Oh, you should check out Dead End Driving," because I think you commented on that last week. I think when you were mentioning.
Yeah, Walter Romero did in a mall. Brian Churchill Smith did in a drive-in movie theater.
Okay, and I think it was Kirk Redgate was the one that mentioned that as well. That I need to check that out. So that's definitely on the list. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out now because I've never seen that before. So. Okay. No, I feel like it's fate. Like I have to see it now because everybody keeps bringing it up.
Thick Australian accents, but you get the hang of it.
Okay. Australian accents never bothered me. So
okay, good. It's no worse than Mad Max.
Yeah, I love Mad Max, so I can deal with it. If I need subtitles, I'll put on subtitles. No big deal. Question number 9. We touched on this a second ago. Are you Team Harry or Team Ben?
Well, I want to be Ben, but I gotta be Team Harry. He's right.
That's the trick. That's the thing about Night of the Living Dead. It's like you like the Ben character more. He's more of the guy that everybody wants to be, the heroic, like let's stay up here and fight and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like Harry. Even though Harry was a huge asshole about it, he was probably right. That's always my opinion. But that's the beautiful thing about Night of the Living Dead is that it's all subjective, like because you could always say like, oh, but if they go down into the basement, there's Karen Cooper, and she's
Yeah.
going to turn. And when she turns, all hell's going to break loose because if Ben tries to shoot her, Harry's going to attack Ben, try to stop him, and then who knows what happens from then on. So,
Like my dad always said, Ben should just got out of there. He should have just left.
yeah. That's a good answer too. Ben should have just showed up, looked at all these fucking crazy ass white people, and said, "I'm fucking out of here, bye." Like
Now to think about it, I am Team Patty Tallman in the remake.
there you
It's
go.
so slow. Just get out of here.
There you go. Just go.
Keep on the move.
All right, last question. Question number 10. Transition into your collection here in just a second. But question 10, what is your White Whale collectible? What is the one collectible that you've always wanted but never landed? And if you have more than one, by all means. Because I got mine back here when I found the fucking solid state TV. I was that's I've been chasing that fucker for years. So, what is your White Whale?
I don't want the model. I want the exact Zenith radio at night. Not the same model, but the radio.
Yeah.
The radio.
I wonder if that even still exists. I would be very surprised if it's still out there. That's another one I would love to have too. Is that? But I looked here recently because I got Will got me for my birthday. I forget what they call it, but it's the little it's the glass. It's like the banana boat thing or whatever the hell it's called. That's sitting on top of that radio in Night of the Living Dead. So I got to get the radio now, put that on top of it, blah, blah, blah. But I looked and like, man, you can find them, but they're pretty fucking pricey. So if you want one that's in halfway decent shape, it's going to cost you at least, $800 to $1,000. So I'm just like, geez.
Well, I collect stereo equipment, so I could fix it if I ever found one. But like I said, I want the exact one I had in the house.
Yeah, I don't know if
that'd be the thing.
I don't know if that's still out there or not. Because I mean, you always hear about, like Savini taking stuff from the sets, and he just has all this stuff that nobody even thought. He was like, oh yeah, I took that. Because I remember in the commentary, I think he's talking about like he had some of the artwork and stuff from Dawn of the Dead that they had in the apartment area up above the mall. He was like, oh yeah, I took that. I got that.
With my luck, they left it in the house when they tore it down.
Yeah, that's true too. Because a lot of that stuff, I think they furnished pretty much everything in there was just from Goodwill. Like, because I remember hearing the story, like, they went to Goodwill. And they're like, hey, $50, fill up a truck, and so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they just said, fucking leave it, and it's all gone now. So I don't know. Maybe that'd be a good question for Vulo. I wonder if John knows anything about if anybody has any.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know Burien has the trowel from Night. But outside of that, I don't know. I can't recall if anybody has anything else. I know maybe some of the wardrobe stuff. Like I think
Carl said he had his wardrobe still.
Yeah.
One of the documentaries, he said that.
George Casana, I know, still had some of his stuff. I know he still had the hat. Because when I met him in 2008, he still had the hat on the table with the cigar in it and everything. But actual props or anything like that, I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see what John knows about that. See, Kirk saying, why did Greg have to mention the number 41? I'm 41 this year. There you go. Robert said, I just bought the Umbrella Entertainment release of Day of the Dead.
Yes. With the book and everything, it's fantastic.
I don't own that one. I have the Scream Factory, and then I got the Arrow UK window box version, which this one's got all kinds of cool stuff in it. But yeah, the Umbrella version, I've heard really good things from quite a few people about that one. That's kind of the version to own right now.
Well, Anchor Bay is still my favorite, but
Yeah. That original Anchor Bay DVD. I
pulled out and all that. Yeah.
I went on and on about that one. Let's see. The mayor says I was probably around 20 when Day was first released. Saw it a couple times at the theater. There you go. It's very cool. I would have loved to have seen any of Romero's stuff. Well, I mean, outside Land of the Dead was the first film of his that I got to see in a theater, first run, just because I was born 20 years too late, I guess. But yeah, that would have been pretty damn cool to see. Dawn, Day, Creep Show first run, all that stuff. Rick saying I was not too hot on Romero's version of the Crazies. Well, it's hit or miss. What are your thoughts on the Crazies, Ed?
I think it's probably one of the most ripped off movies of all time at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I was talking.
But then again, so is Night, so is everything George did. Sons of Anarchy stole Knight Rider's ending for the end of their show, so
that's true too. Yeah. I was mentioning that because I posted that video today talking about Shivers, Cronenberg Shivers, and how it's basically Night of the Living Dead with a libido, and that's what Cronenberg always talked about. Then I was thinking about I may have mentioned it in a comment to Grande. That Rabid is also very Romero-esque, but it's almost there's some really crazies like influence in Rabid to me. So yeah, it's definitely been ripped off quite a bit over the years. See, Greg saying Fritz Weaver or Hal Holbrook. I wonder if he's talking about best performance in a Romero film, because Fritz Weaver's great in Creepshow, as is Hal Holbrook. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on these comments. Try to catch up here real quick. Since said I saw all the stuff after Dawn in theaters, even before I knew who George really was. So there you go. Matt saying looking forward to finally meeting Howard Sherman this year. Yeah, I met him in 2008. Have you ever met Howard Sherman?
I have not.
No. I met him in 2008. That was the only time I ever got to meet him. Very, very nice guy. Never caught him at a convention since. So finding out that he's going to be at Living Dead weekend this year was really exciting. Greg saying children shouldn't play with dead things as his favorite non-Romero zombie film. That's an interesting one too. Bob Clark. I think that was Bob Clark's first film, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
71, 72, I think. That's a good one. Down is Up is a fan. Greg saying we wrote a sequel script for the series but couldn't secure the rights. For children shouldn't play with dead things or Creepshow. I think he's talking about the crate. Yeah. Let's see. Matt saying yes, I agree 100% Ed with the Day soundtrack. There you go. And John completely disagrees. John is finding out that he is in the minority on that one, I think.
I'm going to send John a message in a bottle.
Yeah, I don't know, John. Are you a big fan of The Police? I don't know.
Roxanne.
Mayor says I love how bad Burial Ground is, but it's so much fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm like that too. Like me and Larry have talked about that before. About Larry hates bad movies. He's just like, if it's bad, it's bad. There's no such thing as so bad it's good. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like some of those, like Hell of the Living Dead, and a lot of that Italian stuff is just so bad that it's so enjoyable to me. It's infinitely rewatchable. John St. Greg, I just learned a few years ago that my uncle's aunt was in it, Valerie Mamchis. I remember John saying that before. I was up saying on Nicotero, I just saw the episode of Creepshow with James Remar as the collector. To say that I love that is an understatement. Awesome. Very cool. John saying Harry left Ben to die because he's a coward. Unforgivable. Yeah, it's true. He did. But cowards survive. Cowards live, man. Chickens survive. We used to say that shit when we were kids. You're like, oh, what are you, chicken? It's like, yeah, but chickens are safe, so whatever.
Imagine they stayed there long enough to run out of cigarettes. How mad Harry would have been at that point.
Yeah. That'd have been rough. Get in between some of those domestic disputes between Harry and Helen down in the basement with no cigarettes. Yeah, fuck all that.
One last one.
Get me out. It sounded like a Richard Pryor joke. Avoid the crazy white folks. It's true. Mayor says you definitely need to check out Dead End Drive-In. As far as Australian accents, I was so pissed when I first saw Mad Max at the theater and it was dubbed by American actors. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about Mad Max is that I prefer the Australian version just because it feels more authentic. It's what it's supposed to sound like, what it's supposed to be, I guess. John said there's footage of me dancing with her husband Mickey at my uncle's wedding when I was a kid. She died a few years ago. He's talking about his aunt. See, Larry says supposedly the Eastman family has the radio. Okay, they told me they do. So there you go. So it's still out there. The Eastman family has the radio. So there you go, Ed.
Just knowing that exists makes you so happy right now.
Yeah, I would have never have guessed that. Of all the things, like people like we were saying, like we'll hang on to pieces of wardrobe or smaller props, but that the actual radio is still out there. That's pretty damn cool to find out.
Being a Zenith, it probably still works too. There's some good radios.
Well, get on it. Let's find out. Let's track down the Eastman family and see what they want for it.
Let's see if they go into the basement or not.
Yeah. See, Kirk says if you want the Arrow Blu-ray of Dead End Drive-In, I can send it to you. I got the Umbrella 4K last year. Okay, yeah. Shoot me an email, man. I'll send you something back. We'll do a little trade there. Since my brother collects antiques, including radios, and he has nothing like the night radio. Yeah. John says, I bet so, Larry. It was Carl's. So there you go. Yeah, I guess the Eastmans have it. So if you're looking for it, you know where to look.
Night at 11 Edward. He's coming for the radio.
He's coming for it. The Eastmans would probably also have the coat rack too. There you go. If you're interested in the coat rack, there you go. Larry says they didn't mention the coat rack. They do have Marilyn's dress. There were two. One was ruined with the chocolate syrup, which makes sense. Kirk says Land and Day are the only Romero films I've seen at the cinema. I would love to watch Night Riders on the big screen. Yeah, the only two I've seen the only two I've seen first run in theater is Land and Diary. I did see Diary at an Alamo Draft House. But other than that, I've seen Dawn on the big screen, of course. What else? I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I was at the anniversary screening in Dallas that year when George was there, Tom was there, all the cast. I mean, it was a surreal moment for me. It's like this 19-year-old kid and 1,000 miles away from home, just sitting there around all my heroes watching Night of the Living Dead and just seeing like Tom was sitting right next to me and he had like popcorn and just popping popcorn into his mouth watching Night of the Living Dead. I'm just like, holy shit, like this is insane. What all have you seen on the big screen of Romero's work?
Well, I've seen Land when it first came out. Excuse me. I've seen Night of the Living Dead probably 4 or 5 times. The library here shows it about once a year.
Oh, really?
And I saw Dawn during the what was that? The 3D version, 3-4 years ago. I saw that. Those are the three. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I saw Night Riders, but it was a little screening at Living Dead Weekend a couple of years ago. It was just a smaller screening. I did see Night 90 at Living Dead Weekend back in the day.
I wanted to see Diary, but nobody in my state had it. So
yeah, it was hard to find. Like the only reason I saw it was we were in Dallas at the time, and it was for the convention. It was right at that same time that Diary was out, and it was just at an Alamo Draft House, one of the smaller art house theaters.
Yeah.
But you did. I do want to bring this up for a second. You did get to see a screening of Expostulations.
Yeah.
Here recently, you got to see it with who all was in attendance watching it there with you? Was it Russ, Gary? Tell me about that. How'd you get involved in that?
It was Gus. It was your brothers and his widow. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Was it Blasey? I remember seeing Matt Blasey.
Yeah. A couple of people who part of their network or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, they just announced they needed some financial backers, and they want about 50 people to give in. I think it was like $100, something like that. So I clicked on it. Come to find out, first people who got in on it got their names in the credit and got to see a screening of it with the cast and all that. So that was like early last year. It was like later in the year before I finally got the confirmation when they're going to show it. And it was a Zoom meeting just like this here. Like I said, Russ was on his phone sitting in his vehicle, and he went to the drive-thru while the movie was playing. So the whole time the movie was playing, I could see him at the window, cheeseburger, paying out his money.
That's hilarious.
But it was pretty good the way it is. Like I said, it was kind of choppy because it's celluloid, 60 years old. so it was real choppy. Some of it was real clear, some of it was real choppy. Basically, just a kid was looking at his dad, kind of like a lion, and
Mm.
the neighborhood was their pride. That was just kind of what the narration was. And no, Terry did not use a Jamaican accent, just his regular accent.
So yeah, it was narrated by Terry
Yeah,
Alexander.
I was hoping for that accent. The neighborhood man.
The
No, just
neighborhood and its pride, man. But that's very cool. Did they mention anything about plans for it? Are they going to release it on anything soon? Because I know they found Larry just saw a screening of another short film that Romero and Rudy Ritchie did in the mid '60s, I believe. I can't remember what the name of it's called, but they're finding all this new stuff. I'm thinking, like, are they going to do anything with it? Did they mention anything about that during the Zoom meeting or anything after you watched it or before?
well, from what his widow said, he didn't know they had it. It was in the
Mm.
box of stuff he donated. It was just in there. It's like, hey, what's this? This is 1/5 of the movie we never made, never finished. Of course, it was silent, so
Yeah.
they did narration. But his widow said they have no idea what to do with it. It's only 20 minutes long.
It don't matter, man. There's
Yeah.
you can do something with it. There's plenty of us out
Yeah.
there that'll spend money. I mean, just put it as like a bonus feature on something. Shit, like I want to see it. I want to see the fucking Martin. Which if Greg's still in here, hook us up.
3 hour version.
Yeah, that's talk about a white whale. Like that's the one because Martin's my second favorite movie ever behind Dawn. That's the one thing that I want to see at least once before I die is that black and white 2.5-hour cut of Martin. But
we know it exists. We've seen a video, a picture of the tape. We know it exists.
oh yeah, I've seen some still shots from the actual film of like scenes that I've never seen before, and I just look at those and I'm like, holy shit, what's going on in this scene? Like, and Larry, when I had Larry on for the last Collecting the Dead, was showing a lot of those photos that he got from Tony Bubba. Which a lot of them were photos from scenes that were not in the theatrical version of Martin. So it's like you can kind of piece it together a little bit. But yeah, one day I got to see it. I don't care what they do with it. I'll drive however long, pay whatever, take my money. Like I want to see it.
With the speculations, what I think they should do is put online somewhere and charge ad revenue from it, and it goes into the Garf network.
Yeah, they could totally do something like that. Yeah, I think that would make total sense.
But Russ said there were 5 stories, and each one was about 20 minutes long. This is the only one they found so far. So maybe they're holding out for the rest of them. I don't know.
Well, when Vula was on here, when John was on here, and we were talking about, they always talk about the flood that came and hit 2474 Pitt Boulevard and wiped out everything that was down in that basement. Well, he was saying that like a lot of that stuff wasn't even kept in the basement. So a lot of that stuff that like Russo and Striner have always thought was destroyed in the flood, he kind of felt like that was all kind of secondhand information that they'd heard from somebody else. But from what he was saying, from the guy that would know, who was there at the time, that a lot of that stuff was not kept in the basement. So who knows where? So
maybe it's their commercials and industrial films that were in there.
It could be. I'd release all that shit too. Hell, I told you the other day, I've been looking, trying to find more of all of Romero's and the Latent Image commercial stuff too. So, I'm the market for that. So excuse me. Brian says got to see the amusement park first screening in town a few years back. That's really cool. Have you seen the amusement park?
Have it on Blu-ray. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because that's one I think is it's one of those movies that I don't think that there's a wide audience for it, but I do think it's a very interesting piece of George's work at a time when George was still trying to figure out where he wanted to go with his career. But what did you think of it? What's your thoughts on it?
I stood up and applauded. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I did too. I cried, man. Like Lincoln Meisel's performance at the end of that, when he breaks down and cries, I was like, holy shit, because like growing up, like that's Cuda. Like I was just like, oh, Lincoln Meisel, that's Cuda, and you just think like Cuda's this rigid, hard ass, like just Nosferatu type guy. Then you see him in this movie, and he just is just breaking down, blubbering like a child. It's just like, where did that come from? Like
Yeah.
I didn't. It was like seeing Tom Savini cry for the first time in Knight Riders. It was like,
Yeah.
wow, like I don't want to see them do that. But yeah, I totally agree. That's awesome. Okay, Greg saying, yeah, he was talking about performances. So yeah, Fritz Weaver, Hal Holbrook, yeah, Fritz Weaver's great. Like in that scene where he's talking to Hal Holbrook and he's kind of freaking out and he just kind of starts laughing maniacally, just like, oh, no. Great.
Great face.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Hal Holbrook's just a great actor in general.
Yeah.
Forget about it. John says, yeah, I'd seen it when you helped her at that con in Florida. Carl had the coat rack in the 1993 sit-down interview, so I'm sure he kept it unless it was sold. Easier to sell and move than the radio. So that's possible. Yeah. Maybe somebody else has it out there. Kirk says, I like Delamorte Delamore, aka Cemetery Man. The production design is impressive. One of the best looking graveyards I've seen in a film. Yeah, that's one. I think that was Matt's choice when I had Matt on here. His favorite non-Romero zombie film. Larry says, next time I'll talk to Maryland's son, I'll ask him about it. He texts me randomly all the time. There you go. Get in touch with Larry, see if he can hook you up with that radio.
Everybody's got a prize.
Yeah, that's true.
$1 million man.
It's the $1 million man once famously said. John says, yeah, that'll be cool. No, I'm sure they have some other stuff that we may not know about. I'm sure they do. They got that. Brett says, I love Romero's The Crazies. I love the connection George gives us to the hero fighting for survival. I think the remake misses the mark on this. I agree with that. Definitely. I think The Crazies is just kind of misunderstood by a lot of people. Like a lot of people think of it as a zombie film or like a George like a different type of zombie film that George was doing at the time. But it's more, I don't know. There's just so much more that is under the surface in that film. I think. I don't know. I think a lot of it is hindered by the budget and some of the restraints that they were working under at the time. But Mayor said I just got the 4K of Delamorte Delamore. It's a beautiful transfer. Yeah, I still need to get that. I think Severin put that out here last year. Still need to get that one for sure. Brandon says the Crazies remake is pretty good. Still prefer the original, but surprisingly, I didn't hate the remake. Got a lot to love within it. So there you go. I don't hate it. I'm not crazy about it though. Like I said, I do feel like it does miss the mark. It kind of misses the point of what George was going for. But it's it's a fine little action movie, I guess, more than if nothing else. Since I bought the day score on vinyl through Fangoria before the movie came out locally, like it a bit, but still prefer the superior Creepshow score by John Harrison. Are you a fan of the Creepshow score as well?
I sure am.
Yeah, that's a hard 1-2 punch to to beat. Brian says didn't see until last year in downtown Pittsburgh. Last year at the Harris Theater. What we're talking about there. Like I said, sorry guys, I'm a little bit behind on the comments, trying to catch up, but you guys are burning it up tonight, and I appreciate it. Brett says, agree, still like the Crazies remake too, and it has its own place. There you go. So I mean, the Crazies remake has some fans out there. Matt says they had a limited run of Diary around the corner from our apartment at the Plaza Theater in Atlanta. My wife bought me tickets for my birthday that year. Very cool. Are you a fan of Romero's later work at all? The Diary, Survival?
I love Diary. Yeah. I don't understand why people don't like it. I love it.
I really loved it the first time I saw it. When the first time I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is indie Romero again. Like it's all shot on location. Like, so yeah, I'm a big fan of the concept too. I think George was very ahead of his time in terms of the concept of what he was trying to go for in that film. But I think the biggest thing, I think I mentioned this last week, the biggest thing that irks me, because I was watching it again the other day, is just some of the performances, some of the acting in it from some of those. I think it's a little miscast here and there for some of those, the college kids. But then again, there are some performances in that film that I think are really good, like the professor, the guy that plays the professor. I think he's fantastic in it. So
To be fair, they were not trying to be good actors.
What do you mean by that? Are they
I
trying
mean,
to, because they
they
were
were
trying to be more
a
realistic?
student film. Get a bunch of kids out in the woods with a camera in the middle of zombies. That's probably how they're going to act. That's how I took it, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always felt like the sense of urgency wasn't quite the same. Like when you see Night of the Living Dead and everybody talks about like, oh, Barbara, she turns into Jello and she just kind of
Yeah.
sits there and she's comatose and everybody's kind of losing their mind dealing with it in different ways. If you're going back to the original night, the first night where it's happening for the first time and you have to kind of capture everyone's thoughts and feelings about the phenomenon that is taking place, it's kind of hard to do. And I feel like there were just a couple of the characters in that movie that just weren't hitting on the right notes for me, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I will say, Don't Mess with Texas was a bit much.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
one character I would have drawn back just a little bit.
exactly. Nail on the head. A bit much, yes. John says, ooh, expostulations. Now I'm jealous. I spent the whole day trying to figure out when it was filmed for a book I helped with. So there you go. You've seen it, and John has not seen expostulations yet.
It was filmed, I think, in the fall because there's a lot of dark overclouds. It was not a summer picture, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, George didn't seem like George liked shooting in the summer. He always waited until, which I guess the one time they did try to shoot in the summer was Night Riders, and it was just nothing but storms and tornadoes and shit the entire time. So,
and I can't remember what the name was, but some Pittsburgh Steelers football player had a bit part in the movie, but I can't remember what his name was.
I remember hearing this too. Was no, it would have been.
So whoever was on the team at that point, one of their, I think, running backs was in the movie for a bit.
It wasn't Franco Harris, was it? Was he in it?
I said I don't remember.
So I'm thinking that's the '60s. I can't remember when Franco joined the Steelers, but
Anyway. That's what Russell said anyway. He's a football player, so.
Well, he would know, I guess. So Rick's watching Dawn of the Dead on a smart TV. There you go. It's a nice double feature here. Appreciate it. Brandon says definitely want to see that 3-hour version of Martin. Absolutely. Stukas, what's up, man? Stukas Dive is in the house. Stukas says, oh shit, I made it to a live one. I appreciate it. Glad you could make it, sir. Rick, I don't know what this is, buddy.
Those ducks?
Oh, it looks like waving ducks to me. I don't know. Ducks with bucks. It looks like it's carrying money. I don't know. Ducks with bucks, maybe. I don't know.
It's marshmallow peeps.
Oh, I hate those fucking things. You can get those out of here. Mayor says I was so sad when Second Sight wasn't able to get the 3-hour cut of Martin. Yeah, that was. I remember when that came out. There was a whole story of like, were they waiting to try to get the rights to that, but it just didn't coincide properly. But I don't think, because Rubenstein technically owns the rights to that, so I don't know what all they can do with that and what all they can't. At least while Rubenstein's around. Kirkson, I wish the long cut of Martin was included in the Second Sight 4K. Shame that deal didn't work out. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully they'll do something with it at some point, but I don't think there's nothing pending or imminent as we speak. John says they always claimed the night work print was destroyed in that flood, and it obviously wasn't. So there you go. Brandon says the amusement park is great. Watched it during a film festival and own the Blu-ray. I have the Blu-ray. I can't grab it, but I actually got the because I think they put it out in France first. So I have a French Blu-ray of it that I actually got George's widow to sign, Suze Romero. I met her at Living Dead weekend. I was like, this wouldn't exist if you hadn't, wanted it to exist. So thank you for putting it out so for everybody to see, So she's very, very nice, very nice woman. Spaceman 87186. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. As most of you know, Anthony DeLeo, who played Miguel in Day of the Dead, has passed away. R.I.P. Big man. Absolutely. Yeah, we touched on that at the beginning of the stream. If you want to go back and check that out later, I read a beautiful tribute that Mike Gornick posted today on Facebook. So definitely want to check that out. Kirk says I bought the Blu-ray of the amusement park last year. Powerful stuff. Totally agree. Since says Weaver and Holbrook are always good, but really good in Creepshow. I think everybody's pretty much spot on good in Creepshow. Like that's just all the way around. I can't. Even Stephen King. Stephen King hates his performance in that as Jordy Verrill, but I love it. I think it's perfect. Yeah, that's what it was called. Time Present. The short film Romero did that Larry saw. It's called Time Present, and I definitely want to see that at some point too. John says I feel like Time Present was mentioned not by name in some book, either Russo's film book or The Zombies That Ate Pittsburgh. There you go. Did it portray Rudy Ritchie like James Dean or something like that? Yeah, I think so. Because I remember Larry posting some photos of that on Facebook, and that's kind of what it seemed like. Like Rudy Ritchie was kind of playing like a too cool for school kind of character, you know. Since then, Diary's acting and voiceover in parts is rough, a bit heavy-handed too. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page there. Some of the acting and the voiceover stuff that Michelle Morgan does is some of it's just a little too on the nose for me, where it's just like, like we kind of you didn't have to say it as bluntly as you did, you know. Brian says got to throw out Dead and Buried out as a great non-Romero zombie flick. Maggie and Pontypool too. I've heard Maggie's really good. I need to go back and rewatch Maggie again. Have you seen Maggie?
No, I haven't.
With Schwarzenegger?
Oh, the zombie movie with Arnold. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I love that movie when he grabbed the zombie at the gas station and just knocked his head into the wall. I want to see a full-on zombie movie with Arnold.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, they put Arnold in a zombie movie finally, and they make it, you know, very toned down and very dramatic and stuff. But I think it's good. I like it a lot.
Probably his best acting ever, though.
It might be. I need to go back and rewatch it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember watching it and really, really liking it. I think I probably would like it even more now that I'm actually a father. So that's kind of the whole point of the movie is, you know, so I don't know. I'm curious about going back and I need to watch that again. Larry says Rudy was driving around town with his wife, going out having fun. I would not say he was channeling anyone like Dean, just looked like himself. Kind of gave that vibe though. Let me see here. I'm going to try to catch up on these comments real quick, and then we're going to get into some collections here. Stickus, I'm going to try and participate. Just took a test. Pretty tired. Well, don't worry about it, man. If you need to get your rest, get your rest. You got to get that beauty rest, my man. John said, sense of urgency. That's a great way of putting it. No one seemed as terrified as they should. Yeah, that's kind of my feelings on it. Steven says, if I had to pick a non-Romero zombie film, it's a toss-up between Dead and Buried and Fulci Zombie. Both two good ones. Brandon says, I love Suze, what she's been doing for George, getting these lesser-known films out there, not to mention Screams in a Box. Yeah, it's great. She's doing a lot of great work in George's name and doing a lot for the fans and stuff and all that she does with the Garf. So yeah, I was glad I got to meet her and kind of express that to her and just say, you know, thank you for doing this and keeping George's legacy and his name out there, you know. So Brett says, I like the story of Survival of the Dead, but I think the cheap CGI takes away from it the most. To me, yeah, I agree with that. I love to imagine how it would have looked if Greg's crew had worked on it. It would have been better. I can say that. Because, yeah, some of that CGI is pretty rough. Since Maggie was decent, I was surprised. Kirk said I need to get some shut-eye. Nearly 5 a.m. Good stream. I'll check out Ed's collection. Night, folks. Thanks for hanging in there tonight, man. Good. You finally were able to catch a live stream, Kirk.
Back to Enterprise, Kirk.
Yeah. Rand says for non-Romero zombie films, always like City of the Living Dead and Zombie 2.
Yes.
Two classics, absolutely. And Larry's asking the big question. So what does Ed have? So let's finally get to it. We're about an hour and a half into this. We haven't talked about one thing. So where do you want to start, Ed? The floor is yours.
First, I have to apologize at the start. I thought my phone would be a little more powerful to handle a signal. So I'm not here in my cabin. I'm here in my actual house. But he's seen pictures of what I got. He can contest. It's a pretty good size collection.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Actually, if you want to, these pictures I sent you, you can throw some of those up there if you like. Be able to get to them.
Okay, yeah, I could probably do that real quick while you're showing something off here in just a second.
So, I mean, you and I could do this again some other time. I'm next door and show you more.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, there's a lot. So,
we were talking about Midnight the other week. Yeah. See the OG VHS here.
There you go.
Uh,
When did you
little
get that?
bumpy spots. I've had this since probably about 80, not 80, but 98, 99, something like that. So
What
good
are
old Midnight.
you a fan of the movie at all? You like Midnight?
Yeah, it has its moments. Well, I think it's a little too slow in parts.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's my only complaint, really. Hey, any of you Evil Dead fans out there? I have the OG Evil Dead VHS when HBO Canon put out.
Ooh, that's pretty hard to find. I know you don't see those very often.
They see it's got a few age spots to it, but
Yeah, a lot of those around that time
yeah,
will.
it's just hard to keep stuff in good shape, you know.
Hmm.
Now, this was my introduction to the world of George Romero. This is actually a tape from the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. One of the good time, cheap imitation videos.
Put you up on screen. Oh, the good times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is my introduction. I always like that cover on it. So even though I have about 8 or 9 different versions of this on VHS, this is still my favorite. I just love just that simple cover on it.
Yeah. Well, there's probably
Yeah,
a
it's
thousand
great.
different versions out there of that movie. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it's free. You know.
Yeah.
I've always hated that about them, but. And here's my first ever copy of Dawn in physical media.
Oh yeah, the two tape
Yeah,
collection
from
there.
Anchor Bay. So actually, this here's in pretty good shape as well. I've had this for quite a while myself.
I
said
have
once,
that one as well.
once you get about 8 or 9 versions of this, but this is still my favorite.
Yeah, I have the my first version of Dawn was the it was the VHS tape. It's got like the multicolored.
Yeah,
It
I
was a
got that one.
director's cut. It was very
Yeah,
weird. But yeah,
psychedelic.
yeah, it's very psychedelic. It's the way to go about it.
And here's the old school Day of the Dead, the
With the
old media
media.
version.
Yeah, I finally got a hold of one of those. That's the one that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
I like it because it's real grainy. It's just perfect, real grainy. Like I said, I've always been a fan of Night, and just a friend said, "You like Night? Well, you're gonna love Day." And he had a tape of it, and I watched it. It's like, that's fantastic. That's about 8 or 9 at the time.
So what year would this have been?
Oh, 93, 94.
93, 94.
I
So
was born in 85, so quite a few people out there got a few years on me. Let's see here. Oh, since you're a Jim Cornette fan, I got this out for you.
Villa's gonna like this. Villa likes Cornet too.
Here's a magazine he signed for me. It says, "To Eddie, stop stealing magazines."
That's cool.
It's shiny, but
Oh, that's one of the Inside the Ropes.
yeah.
He used to write columns for. I remember him talking about.
Yeah.
That. That's cool.
Yeah. English publication, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody out there a wrestling fan? 1991 lunch bag with Hulk Hogan's signature on it. He signed that for me just this past year.
Wow. What is that?
It's a lunch bag.
A lunch bag.
A paper lunch bag, yeah.
It looks like it looks like a barf bag. It's a Hulk Hogan barf bag, brother.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
That's pretty cool. What year? What year is that from? You say?
90, 91. Has
91?
has 91 on it, but they made it back as far as 1990. No,
Huh.
who did a barf bag was Ric Flair.
Yeah.
All those kamikazes. Woo!
I don't know. Apparently, that shit didn't ever bothered him. There's stories of him. He'd be up until 4 or 5 in the morning. He'd be, out partying. Then he'd be
Yeah.
leaving his hotel at, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, just wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to go. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's a machine.
It wasn't that way at the last match.
Yeah.
It was far from it. Let's see here.
Didn't they say he said he had a heart attack?
Yeah,
during
there's
that
a
match.
spot on his heart to turn black. Doctor said he had a heart attack during the match,
Good
which
God.
which makes sense.
He looked like he did.
I mean, he started out okay, just the match kind of went for a downfall. But DDP did a diamond cutter in another match. So I finally got to see a diamond cutter in person. That was worth the price of the ticket.
That was so over in the 90s, like the late 90s. That
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
diamond cutter. Jesus. Like I remember that. Like that was like because I was probably 9, 10 years old at that time. And that was the playground move. You'd come up from behind your buddy, and before the RKO, it was the fucking diamond cutter, you know.
Well, he sold it for Michael Hayes and the Freebirds from Texas.
Mm.
You ever watch World Class with Von Erickson?
Oh, yeah.
That?
Oh, yeah.
He did that. He's the one that kind of taught it to him. He also taught Steve Austin how to do the stunner. It's the same move, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except you're closer and you fall down. The other way, you kind of further out. But it's the same move. All right. Actually, here's one of my favorite things. The old Japanese Day of the Dead book.
Ooh. I don't own that.
Of course, it has Savini's, one of his adverts, one of his books on the back. That's a great face on him, ain't it?
Yeah.
And here's those pullover masks Tom Savini's always talking about. The ones that kind of horrible.
Because that's from like what poster? Because that's I guess that's the Japanese poster. I guess that's from, but I think they also use that in the British poster, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. The head rip off in full color.
Nice.
The Japanese had some really good prints. I mean, all these color photographs are just near perfect. And there's a bunch of Tom Savini's behind the effects shots. And of course, Rhodes getting his.
So can you read Japanese?
I cannot, but I tell you, it's pretty dark difficult if you ask me. Like there's a house with an upside down goat in it. I don't know what that is. some kind of symbol. And there's George's smile.
Oh yeah, I love that photo of him and Tom.
Hey gut boy, you still here?
Bring back memories.
Do you always look familiar?
I love the story about the fucking the guts that in the fridge, and they unplug the fridge and they come back after the weekend. When they're pulling fucking Pilato apart and the fucking smell, because you can see it in that behind the scenes footage when George says cut after they've torn him apart. The look on Pilato's face, like it looks like he's about to start swinging. He's just like, get me the fuck out of this floor, like.
Well, in this photo, you kind of see how he was hitting in the floor, the way his head's at an angle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but it kind of gives it away. Yeah, some really good color photographs in here, some black and white ones as well. Of course, Dr. Tongue.
Mm.
You heard the story about how they couldn't get that one right?
I don't know. Tell it.
It was like 5 o'clock at night or in the afternoon. Sun's going down.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Didn't get to light it properly.
Yeah, that has never looked as good as it should have because of the lighting.
Yeah. It looks better on the Shout DVD, though, in Blu-ray.
Yeah.
They were to punch it up somehow. Yeah, good old Japanese. And, of course...
That's one thing I don't collect quite as much as I should like to is Japanese stuff, Japanese collectibles, like especially like the Dawn stuff, Day stuff, shit like that. I don't have a lot of Japanese collectibles. I'm mostly Italian. I love Italian stuff. So
I got stuff for Terminator, Friday the 13th. I'm a huge fan of the Young Gun movies. A bunch of stuff I get from Japan. I said really good quality photograph work they do. And, of course, there's a Bible, right? The Day of the Dead Bible.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I was just thinking about that today because I had Anthony DeLeo sign that.
Every Sunday we should read this and sing.
Turn to page 34. Yeah, it's a great book. I don't know how many of you guys haven't read that yet or haven't got it. I've seen them recently. They used to go for quite a lot of money, but I've seen them recently for $25, $35, $40.
This one's priced for $26.95.
I guess is that a first edition or?
Yeah, it is. You know how they were talking about how they were almost busted for growing marijuana plants? I think they were real plants because they look kind of high in that photo.
Probably.
I know, Greg, you're right there. Were y'all smoking a little something on that set?
Oh, probably. I mean, shit, you're underground. You know, there's no law enforcement around to catch you doing anything. So why not?
Speaking of James Dean, there's Gut Boy as James Dean.
Is the crew with Dr. Tongue there?
This might be the last time Greg is on your show. I don't know.
He's like, God damn it! I haven't been called Gut Boy in 40 years. This is bullshit.
Like Savini said, he's a millionaire. He's all right. One thing they always said is that Day of the Dead was not advertised very much in the 80s.
Mhm.
I don't know about that because I got a magazine, Cinema Fantastique. I don't know if any of y'all ever read those.
Oh yeah.
It's got a pretty good article, Day of the Dead, on here. Also, Return of the Living Dead. I always like the magazines. Also, some good quality photos in here as well. Like I said, I got tons of these over there.
I didn't know. I just recently found out that Rubenstein sued John Russo, or sued Russo for Return of the Living Dead or something like that around that same time when they were coming out. I can't remember what the story was, but yeah, I remember. I just heard here recently that Russo was sued by Rubenstein over Return of the Living Dead because it was coming out right around the same time as Day of the Dead. So it was like right around that same time there.
Well, he already wrote the book and owned the name, so I don't know what he could do about it.
Yeah, I can't remember the details on that. I don't know if anybody, John or anybody in the chat's heard that story before, but
here's a shot of those elevator zombies.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know if I've seen that shot before.
This is looking down from the top of the mine, looking down.
Yeah.
Or the shaft or wherever this part was filmed actually in Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Go down into the mine, yeah. See, who's
that standing there on the side? Who's that standing to the side there? I can't quite tell. Is it George?
It says George, but don't look like him. But yeah, there's all those zombie masks he's always talking about. They do look pretty awful.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Do you collect Romero magazines?
No, I think I have like one.
Okay.
I'm not a big magazine collector.
Well, they did a special edition for George a couple years ago, and I got it here.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I get these at Barnes and Noble, where I get these from.
I used to get Fangoria, but I never the Romero or anything like that. But that was like back in probably the mid 2000s. I think it was the last time I bought a Fangoria magazine.
Oh, okay. But that's Nightmare Image right there.
What the fuck is that?
It's a man full of teeth.
What is that? I have not. What the hell is that? I've never seen that.
It's a character from a Shudder movie. I forget which one, but that's all teeth.
Wow. All right then. That's original. Teeth Man.
Oh, just up on Shudder. Speaking of Creepshow, here's a magazine on Creepshow. This is called The Dark Side. The beautiful, beautiful Adrian Barbeau on the cover.
Oh, wow.
Of course, he's pretty as well. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Fluffy's got that... he's got... You know who Fluffy kind of looks like?
Who's that?
So, speaking of Day of the Dead, you know that zombie in Day of the Dead that bites Miguel's arm when they're pulling him out of the corral? It's got like the wiry hair and the big mouth, and he bites the arm, and he's like, you know, I've always thought that fucking zombie looks just like Fluffy. It looks just like Fluffy in that fucking picture there.
Maybe it was an homage.
Maybe, I don't know.
You're a fan of Monkey Shines, right?
I like Monkey Shines.
This is a great photo of George with Ella.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love George's stories about having to work with the monkey and making faces and trying to get it to do shit.
That's a great look from George, ain't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of, there's your favorite movie right there.
I mean, I don't hate it. You don't gotta call it my favorite movie. It's not. I don't hate it.
Of course, one of my favorite hero shots is, of course, Big Daddy coming out of the water.
Yeah.
I wish that was on a poster somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do. They did. I mean, the poster's kind of something similar to that, but yeah, it's not them coming out of the water like that. Um,
I just love that shot too.
yeah.
Of course, there's a few photos from Night Riders in there as well.
When did that magazine come out? I don't think I've seen that one before.
2004.
2004. Yeah, that's cool. I've never seen that before.
Put it in the UK. Well, like I said, I go to Barnes and Noble, get a bunch of this stuff. And here's one about just 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one.
Of course, you get this one at Walmart.
Yeah, I remember people saying that it was at Walmart at the time, and I would kept going and looking, and our Walmarts never had any of them. So
I had that same problem. Like I couldn't get the Creep Show pops and all that at Walmart. I had to order them online.
Yeah, our Walmart here doesn't have shit. Like all the Creep Show stuff that like the 3D poster, the Creep Show poster.
Yeah. Here's a photo of the trio.
That's cool. I don't know if I've ever seen that photo before either.
The little boombox Mike's got.
George Gornick and yeah.
Actually, that's the camera. My bad. Of course, then there's Bub.
Oh yeah.
That's the picture they use for a lot of the covers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it looks like the same one that they used on the media.
Yeah.
Except he's not, shaving.
Yeah. Well, the Anchor Bay 2 DVD set, same way. Of course, here's one from Scream magazine.
Justin Russo did say he got sued, but I think it was to prevent market confusion because Return was coming out later. Russo won apparently, but I don't know what exactly true or the details. So yeah, there you go.
On the documentary for the first Return movie, he talked about that. Now, he and George were friends at the time. They thought everybody else was being goofy about it.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right. Because I remember. Because I don't think him and George ever really had like a beef or a real falling out or anything. They were kind of friendly throughout the years, even after they stopped working together. So,
I mean, Russo did create, write, direct Night of the Living Dead. He's responsible for the whole movie, right? So,
yeah, just ask him. Since saying the water shot inspired by Carnival of Souls, it seems, or Shockwaves from Land of the Dead, which. I don't know if Romero would have seen. He may have seen Carnival of Souls, but I don't know if he would have seen Shockwaves. So,
I mean, it seems obvious they got to get into the area somehow.
Yeah. The underwater aspect of it was kind of a new thing at the time. I remember.
Do you get Scream magazine?
I don't think so.
Another one's printed from the UK. I get at Barnes and Noble.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. This goes into all zombie movies, but features Dave mostly. Also, a bunch of Scream photos.
What year is that?
Oh, this is probably about 10 years ago.
Oh, about 10 years.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I've never really got big into magazines. Like, I'll get some if there's like an article or something that I want to read, but
You had a couple Iron City beer cans, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got quite a few of those.
Okay, I got quite a few of those next door. Now here's one on George's Resident Evil and Twilight of the Dead. This number one from Rule magazine.
That one just came out
just a couple years ago. Yeah,
not too long ago. Because I remember thinking I wanted to get that, but because I think
2024.
Yeah. Brett saying the VHS copy of Dawn was my first too, so the 2 tape. Gotta love the flip cover and second tape with trailers on it. I didn't know it was the cans cut at the time. The cans cut was the first cut that I saw. Well, no, not the first one that I saw, but the version of Dawn that I became obsessed with because I saw the original US cut when I rented it the first time, but when I saw, because then it came on IFC. couple of years later, and that's when I saw it. I was like, oh shit, Dawn of the Dead's on TV. I gotta watch it. So I put it in my fucking videotape into the VCR and hit record and recorded it off IFC.
Yeah.
And that's the version that I watched over and over and over again. It was the director's cut or the cans cut. So that's the version I became
Okay.
very familiar with.
You want to see a pie face, George? Look at that. Those little
Yeah.
dimples.
I
That's a
love
great
early
photo.
George. Yeah,
That's a great photo.
all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Of course, there's Bill Cardell in the gang.
See, that's a good photo too.
Isn't there some more footage that Bill shot or something like that hanging around there somewhere?
Probably so. Trying to think because that does sound familiar.
I'd be thinking of somebody else. I thought he shot something.
No, you're right. There was, God, what was it and where did I see it? John may know, or Larry. It was like a party or something.
Yes. I think it was on Homepage of the Dead at some point.
That sounds like it may be. God,
No,
where
it's
did
about-
I see that? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
About 3 or 4 minutes long, give or take.
yeah. Where did I see that?
Also, somebody shot video of the helicopter coming in as well. I've seen from somewhere.
Larry's saying Autopsy of the Dead has Cardell's news footage.
Okay.
So that may have been where you've seen it. But I saw it online somewhere. I saw it online somewhere. Somebody sent it to me or posted it or something. I can't remember where I saw it, but
didn't John find some more video here recently?
Oh yeah. He
Something in color.
Yeah, some color 8. I think it was Super 8 behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, John saying in the Blu-ray 4K. So okay, maybe that's where I saw. I can't remember, but I think I watched it online somewhere, and I think Larry saying he posted it on his channel too. Got it from another source. Okay. I think that's probably where I saw it. Was it during that time period, Larry, when you were doing like the 30 Days of Christmas or whatever? I got Larry did it a few years back for like 30 days straight.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. That may have been, if that's where I can't remember, but yeah, I think it may have been Larry's channel where I saw it here recently. The Chiller Theater compilation. Okay.
You want to see the worst picture of George ever?
Hit me.
Look at that.
Grumpy George.
Said old man Logan, he's old man George.
He's got to give his serious face. It's a serious subject, man.
Now, the definitive version of Night of the Living Dead is, of course, the 50th anniversary box set.
Yeah.
Which had the 4K and a bunch of lobby cards and stuff inside of it.
Yeah, they had a ton of those at FYE.
Yeah. I thought this was fantastic. Then I also had the graphic novel here.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do consider this the definitive Night of the Living Dead edition.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of consider it too. I can't think of anything, but I mean, like, fucking John is discovering so much more stuff. Like I said, that color behind the scenes footage that apparently somebody had for all these years and never mentioned. I got to see that.
Tell him to give him your PayPal information.
Bunny saying, Carnival of Souls is one of my all-time favorite movies. It was cool seeing its influence in Land of the Dead. Great scene. There you go. Yeah, I remember she mentioned last week when I was talking about 5 films that every Romero fan should see, Carnival of Souls being one. I think that's a good choice too.
Yeah, I go with that.
Larry saying, no, I remember I found a video of Laurie Cardell commercials and it had footage in it. Okay, that's what it was then, because I remember those commercials too that Laurie was in.
Anyways, that's all I brought over for now. It's just so much stuff I can only grab so much at once.
Yeah, you sent me all those pictures. I was hoping we could kind of just walk around the cabin and look, but
well, next time I'll take my router here at the house and I'll take it next door.
We'll figure it out, but yeah, we got it working. We got it figured out. So what's like?
I am not at Larry level collector of Romero, but I'm getting there. Chris, I
Well,
like somebody. I
it's a
like
high bar.
people. Well, I like people who have more than me, anyways, because it's fun to see stuff you don't have. You know,
Yeah,
like, ooh, I want that, but
I've I try to keep it. I try to keep my collecting to if it has to have a spot here. Like I
spot.
have
Yeah,
to be able to put it somewhere. I don't want to just put it away and never look at it, which I do. I'm starting to do some of that, and when I get to that point, it's like, okay, maybe it's time to let go of some of this stuff that I don't love, don't really need, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. You're obviously a big collector. Let me see if I can pull up some of the photos of your collection here. We can kind of go through it that way, but you're obviously a big collector. What is it about collecting? Like, what is it that you're just like, I have to collect this stuff? Like, because I feel like some people just don't understand. They don't get it. They're just like, why do you need all this? Like, what is it about collecting this stuff that grabs you?
Probably because I'm emotionally damaged.
There's the answer right there,
I
and
mean,
one I can't argue with.
think about it. Growing up, what come in the mail once a year? KB Toys Christmas catalog, the Sears toy catalog. A bunch of stuff like that would come in.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those fucking catalogs.
And I love my parents, but they were they would only buy stuff local. They wouldn't buy
Hmm.
anything that had to be bought online or had to go out of city to get. Had
Oh
to be
no.
here. Had to be here.
Yeah, like I never like the thought of like ordering something through a catalog or online, like when
Yeah.
eBay was a thing. Like I remember being like early 2000s and being a teenager and just looking at all the cool shit on eBay, like all the Dawn stuff and
Yes.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
and just being like, oh, it'd be so cool to have, but I just don't know how to order things online and I don't want to deal with it. And it was just foreign world to me. So if you couldn't find it out in the wild, if you couldn't, I'm kind of like this to this day. Like I love just finding shit in the wild, like
Yeah.
going to a flea
Oh, me
market
too.
or a peddler's mall or something, and it's just like I love the hunt. Um,
Well, it's like growing up here. You could not find Night Riders in any video store.
oh yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't there. Same
yeah.
thing
Well,
with like Midnight, for example. It was not there.
yeah. That was the case with a lot of movies, like in my era. Because I guess we you grew up Arkansas, I grew up in Kentucky. We're kind of in the same like small town South, like
Yeah. Ding,
it's a
ding, ding,
lot.
ding, ding.
Going back to that old steel guitar from earlier. Um, but yeah, like just seeing a lot of these movies, it was hard to find them. Like Night Riders, yeah, didn't have it anywhere. Like nobody had it in
Yeah.
any of the little movies, rental stores or anything. So, um,
Well, I grew up loving Terminator above everything. Terminator movies is everything.
mm,
And you'd have the Kinder toys, the more expensive stuff. My parents just would not buy it for me. So over the years, I would buy, hey, I'd buy this. And I'd buy that. Buy this. Buy that. Before you know it, I got a wall of Terminator stuff. Then it's like eBay.
yeah,
The Japanese version of this. The UK version of this. Oh me, oh my. Wait a minute. They had Terminator sunglasses from 1984. Got to buy those.
yeah, fucking huge. Like growing up, Terminator was kind of my first big thing because I was born in '88, and then by the time I was old enough to be aware and cognizant of movies, like
Yeah.
T2 was the biggest thing on earth.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the end all be all. So yeah, I'm trying to see if I can figure out a way to kind of download all of these photos because you have a hell of a fucking
Uh,
Terminator and Schwarzenegger collection here too. Um, but which do you prefer? Because I hear people go back and forth with this now. Do you prefer the original Terminator or do you prefer T2 as the
I
better film?
prefer the first one
Really?
because it's human versus machine. No
Yeah.
machine, no machine. Human machine. Kyle Reese, what a character. He comes from the future, falls in love with the woman in the photograph, travels back in time, gets to be with her, gets to see, green grass. You know,
Hmm.
there's a deleted scene where he's the little brook. He's like, I'm not supposed to be seeing this, and he's almost crying because he grew up post-war, concrete and dirt. That was it. And
Yeah.
he's saying green grass, the woman he loves, is right there. You know, he gets a taste of life, but it's taken from him.
Yeah.
And it's Sarah's fault. Remember, because she gave the mother the phone number to the hotel. But really, remember, the Terminator already killed her mother. It was on the phone. So it's Sarah's fault he got killed to begin with. I always thought that.
Yeah, because I mean, he tells her like, don't
Yeah.
don't tell anybody where you're at, don't do anything, and she's like, well, she doesn't listen. That's true. I never thought of that either.
That's why I think she's so messed up in part 2, because she knows it's her fault. That's just the way I took it.
There's
anyway.
probably a lot of reasons she's fucked up in part 2, but
yeah, but the techno scene, that's fantastic.
yeah,
All these people just dancing. They don't know what's going on right there.
Burning.
That's a great.
Yeah.
I got the soundtrack. That's actually a pretty cool jam if you turn it up all the way.
Oh yeah, and the score itself, Brad Fidel's
yeah.
score is iconic. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me. Like, to me, it's T2 because sentimentally, like, that's what I grew up on. Like, that's, you know, Arnold and Eddie Furlong, and that's the story that I watched a billion times when I was a little kid, and that's what we always played. Like, we'd get together and like, all right, I'm gonna be the T, you know, I'll be the T1000, and you be, you know,
Yeah.
So it's like. And to me, like, Terminator 2 is still maybe the greatest action movie ever made. Like, it's still to this day, like, hard to top. But man, the original Terminator, it plays like a slasher film, like a sci-fi action slasher film, because Schwarzenegger in that movie is just cold-blooded, like
like a shark. He was being shark, what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge Terminator fan, huge Schwarzenegger fan too. What's your all-time favorite Schwarzenegger film?
Probably Predator. I got a bunch of Predator stuff as well. Yeah.
Okay.
If not Terminator, but Predator. But I like the Running Man too. Running Man's great.
There's
just not much to collect from that movie, really.
Yeah. Total Recall is one that I grew up on too. I fucking love Total Recall. Like, I think it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge Arnold fan.
What did you think about Dark Fate?
I don't even know if I saw that one. Yeah, some of the later Terminator movies kind of blur together in my brain.
Okay.
Dark Fate, is that the most recent one?
Yes, that's the woman that killed John Connor.
I think I saw like half of that.
Yeah.
And then it was just, I think the last Terminator film that I actually thought was not God. Like, Salvation didn't turn me off as much as it did everybody else, just because I was like, at least they're trying something different, you know? Because I mean, because really the story should have ended with part 2. Like, that's really kind of the end of the story. And they're like, okay, we're gonna do part 3, and part 3 was fun because it was like, oh, you know, I'm reliving my childhood, and it's like, oh, Arnold's back, But then it was like Salvation, they took a different turn, and it maybe not the greatest movie, but at least they were trying something different. And then after that, it was just, it all kind of blends together for me. What are your thoughts on the newer ones, though?
Well, I wrote an article a few years ago on a website that James Cameron for Titanic did a remake of Terminator. What do you think about it? What's the centerpiece of the whole thing? A picture. And Michael Biehn, Kyle Reese is just like a Jack Dawson, same character. They both die, and it's the
James Cameron stuck on Titanic. He's stuck telling the same story.
What thing about the women would cause both of their deaths? She could have moved over. There was enough room on that table, or whatever it was.
It was a door.
A door. He should have turned a knob on it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. If you watch Terminator and Titanic back to back, you're like, it's the same movie.
Yeah.
Then David Warner, he's a Terminator in Titanic. And there's that dance scene, remember? Tech Noir didn't have a dance scene on Titanic. Arnold and David Warner.
Different type of dance scene.
But Arnold and David Warner were there as Terminators watching them.
Yeah, I'm a little more terrified of Schwarzenegger's Terminator than I am David Warner's. Oh, he was pretty fucking ruthless in that movie too. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Since the best part of Terminator Salvation was the Christian Bale rant that leaked. Yeah. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you? Do you remember that? Do you remember when that came out?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
He was probably right.
Probably. But I mean, you know how these actors are. Steven says Mr. Trader has a great collection. If you don't have this and you're looking to add something interesting, Z Channel had a special night/dawn issue of their cable guide. There you
I
go.
got some HBO cable guides and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, the old days of TV Guide. I remember those. Then they
Also,
always have the crossword puzzles at the back of them.
Yeah.
Those are always fun.
a lot of them that you buy online, the puzzle's already done. You appreciate the value.
Yeah, I was going to ask Steven, if you don't know what Z Channel is, there's a great documentary on it. I've never heard of Z Channel before.
I have to check it out.
See, Larry wasn't aware of the guide. Did see the dot. Okay. You'll have to look that up. I've never heard of that. Since then, Terminator sunglasses were a brand called Gargoyles. I have a Terminator poster from my brother's old workplace that sold the glasses. Had a Gargoyles sticker on it.
But do these have the H EMI logo on the side? If Sense knows if it's a mine was part of a promotion for the movie.
Do you remember the toy, the fucking hand, the Terminator hand that you'd stick in the thing and it had the little pull thing? I used to just fucking wear that all the time, like just going around the house, just grabbing things with it and trying to maneuver things with it. Yeah.
Or flip somebody off.
Oh yeah, that was the go-to. I mean, that was the obvious thing. You got to give them you got to give them the finger when you got it. Matt says T2 is still one of the best action films of all time. There you go. I agree with that.
And the special effects are not dated.
No, they're not. I mean, I haven't seen the 4K yet. Have you seen the 4K of that? How does it look in 4K? Because I remember I saw probably the most recent time I've seen Terminator 2 was in a theater, and it may have been like a Blu-ray copy or something like that. But I was thinking that too. Like a lot of the effects, like primitive fucking effects, like still look pretty damn good. Still hold up pretty well.
Well, I mean, the twins was free, you know.
That's true. Who were those? Because they were in Gremlins 2 as well.
Yeah.
I always remember them from that. Brett saying back in the late 90s, I literally used my high school computer lab to email an Italian rep at Cinevox to order the Dawn soundtrack on CD. I'm glad we can hunt down Romero treasures online these days. Yeah. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for sure. But yeah, that was the thing. Growing up where I grew up, like finding anything Dawn of the Dead or anything Day of the, like finding any of that shit was damn near. But like if I remember wanting to see like Argento's films for the first time or like Fulci or any Italians. No, we didn't have that around here. Every now and then, like if you were lucky, you were at a flea market or something, you could find like an old VHS or something of Suspiria. But yeah, you really had to track those down around here back in the day. Stuga says my wife calls me autistic because I collect. I say fuck that. I have an internet and I'm going to do my thing. There you go. Or as I joke with Will about it, like we're all just undiagnosed at this point.
There's something in the water.
Yeah, we all got the bug, as they say in the crazies. Matt says T2 and Road Warrior are my two favorite action films. Can't go wrong with either one. John says Commando. Commando may be one of my top favorite Romero Schwarzenegger films because that's just like balls to the wall, unapologetic 80s action, like just start to finish. Like that movie starts with Arnold carrying a fucking tree on his shoulder, and then you're immediately into fucking action throughout the rest of the movie. He's chasing these fuckers down. Like it's one memorable scene after another. Says Commando. Side note, Craig Baxley directed the big action scene in the beginning of Predator. They liked what he did so much they gave him Action Jackson to direct. I've never seen Action Jackson.
You haven't? With Carl
Mm-mm.
Weathers and Vanity?
I guess not. No.
Vanity's nude scene alone is worth watching.
I'll keep that in mind. Action Jackson. So I got to watch Dead End Drive In and Action Jackson here soon. Um, Matt says, because my wife calls figures that I collect action dolls. Well, at least it's not, complete disrespect. Oh, go get your doll. At least she throws action in there to give it that manly,
Once Star Wars dolls called dolls at the time, though? They weren't called toys or figures, they were called dolls.
probably. I mean,
You had the Kiss dolls.
oh
And
yeah,
but
that's
specifically
true.
were Kiss dolls, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. Since saying Action Jackson's great. Okay. All right, I'll put it on the list, guys. I'll put it on the list. Action Jackson. I don't know if I've ever heard that. John says it is. He also did Stone Cold, I Come in Peace, and Stephen King TV movie Storm of the Century. Great, funny guy. Okay. Stone Cold. Stone Cold's the one with
Brian Bosworth.
Yeah. The Boz. Rick says, is your weather there now cold or winter? Kite guys, I don't appreciate that. Okay, like kite guys. Right now it's cold and rainy here. It's very London-esque weather. How is it in Arkansas?
Pretty nice outside. I did some good old yard work today. It's pretty nice.
It must be nice. Although it was, I think it was last Sunday, it was like 70 degrees here.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking the kid to the zoo and having a day. It was nice. And then the following day it was like 40. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Global warning.
Yeah. Brett says, I love the original Terminator. Quotes from it are priceless. Stuka saying Kyle Reese forever. So,
And I met Michael Bean. He's a real nice guy.
I've never met Michael Bean.
He sat and talked to me about 20 minutes because there's nobody else in line.
Those are always the best when you find the guy that nobody, there's no rush. You're just like, hey, what's up? Because that's my issue. Like when I go, like if I go, which I rarely do outside of Living Dead weekend, but if I go to a convention where I'm like I want to meet somebody, it sucks when there's a line behind because you just feel rushed. It's like I don't want to be the guy that's holding up the line, and I know they're trying to get through as many people as they can. But it's cool when you just walk up and just talk to somebody for a while. It makes it all worth it.
We had William Shatner here. He had about 30 seconds per person. That was it. Take your picture, get your autograph, go. No convo.
I kind of get the feeling that even if nobody was at his table, he would still only give you about 30 seconds before he tells you to get. Hey, get the fuck away. Although Shatner, I will say, he's like 90-something years old. Dude does not look 90
He does
at all.
not. And he was walking around and everything. He was just great.
Oh, yeah. I saw him. I think I most recently saw him on Bill Maher. I think he was on Bill Maher not too long ago. And he sounded aware, like didn't seem like a 90-year-old in any way whatsoever. It was pretty incredible.
The coolest person I ever met, though, was Sting, the wrestler, about 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
He was real. I showed him the scars on my leg when I had corrective surgery as a kid. And I told him that he was a hero of mine because they could walk and run and jump, do all that stuff that I couldn't do. And Sting gave me a hug.
Oh, Sting has always seemed like the nicest guy. Like you just like you've never heard a bad story about Sting. Like nobody's like, oh, what because in the wrestling business, all these shoot interviews, somebody's got some shit to say about somebody, but there's like a handful of people that nobody's ever said a bad thing about. It's like Mick Foley, Owen Hart, Sting. Mm. Like there's very few people that have ever had a bad story about any of those guys. So that's a really cool story. Where was I? Since says B-52s have a song about Channel Z. Are you B-52s fan?
Just Love Shack.
Just like the Love Shack. That's all. Since says the real glasses in the film were gargoyles. Not sure about the promotional stuff other than the updated poster in stores that sold G glasses. Rick saying I really like Land of the Dead that came out in the early 2000s. Came out in like the early 2000s. Yeah, I like Land of the Dead. I like that one. All right.
Sort of came and went here. 2 weeks. That was it.
Yeah, it wasn't in theaters long when it came out around here, but I saw it 3 times when I was in the theater. Because the first time I was just like, I didn't know how to take it. I was like, I'd been looking forward to it for so long, and I was like, I don't know if that's what I want or not. And then I went back, watched it again. I was like, it's not so bad. Then I went back, watched it again. I was like, okay, it's not too bad. I kind of like it. I kind of get it, but it's still just not what I want. Not what I wanted. Like, it was too Hollywood feeling. Like, even though
Yeah.
it wasn't a big budget or anything like that. It just felt that because it was the first time George had, like, I guess outside of Creepshow, but like big name actors,
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing, like Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo and shit. Or mainly, I guess, for his zombie films, I guess the first one that he had like big name actors in it. Okay, Stuka's saying T2 rules, but I'm an Aliens fan all the way.
I loved Aliens.
I like Aliens, but I'm just not a fan of that franchise in general. Like,
Okay.
I like Alien, but I don't love it. Like, it's a good movie
I
I'll
get that.
watch every few years, and I'm like, okay, it's really well made. I really like it, but I've just never been a big Aliens guy. I never like even like the newer stuff. I just was like, I don't know. John says Craig said Vanity was very friendly. There you go. Since that Greg T. Nelson is hilarious
Yes, he
in
is.
Action Jackson.
To see him play a bad guy, yeah.
This is a good one. True Lies. Stukas with the all-time Arnold film True Lies. I do really like True Lies. I think that's a really interesting concept for a movie. The way that it was.
And we still haven't got the sequel. We've
Yeah.
been talking about for 20 years.
Well, it's James Cameron. I mean, it takes him a decade to do anything, so
The sequel will be called Old Lies now, I guess.
yeah. Fuck, I lost my place. I think I was Brett says, when buying too many collectibles, I often quote the Terminator gun shop scene where the clerk asks Arnold, which will it be? And Arnold replies, all. I don't know. Do you follow Dead Pit at all?
Yes.
UB has that whole scene memorized. Uncle Bill has that whole scene, and he repeats it like the fucking the when he's listing off the guns that he's looking for, and he's like Uzi 9mm, plasma rifle with 20 watts range. It's fucking hilarious. That is a great scene.
What some people don't know is his part had more lines in it, but he wasn't a great talker, so it really scaled back the lines for Terminator had.
Which I always thought that was like kind of the charm to Arnold, was his accent and the way that he talked. Like I don't know, he was kind of lovable in a way because he kind of felt like a baby who was just learning how to talk for the first time. So like he became a likable hero. I don't know.
Well, can you imagine Arnold as a baby? Little Arnold.
Yeah. Wasn't he a baby in some movie, or did they CGI it or something? Or no, I'm thinking of maybe it was a Mad TV skit or something where Arnold plays a baby. I don't remember what it was, but
we think Arnold as a baby crying for bottle.
Give me your boobies. I'm hungry.
Yeah, his mother's trying to vacuum. He's bench pressing the couch.
I do love Arnold. I don't care. I'll watch him anything. Riverman wants to know favorite foreign Romero posters. I love the French Dawn poster artwork. Do you have a favorite foreign Romero poster? I'm trying to think on that one.
Probably the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, the Japanese go pretty hard. I will say that I do love. I have a thing for those the Thai posters.
Yeah,
those posters from Thai. They're just so goofy and so out there that I love them. And the one for Martin is particular because I think it has it has David Soul from Salem's Lot in it for some reason. Like I do love that one. Foreign. I'm trying to think of what my favorite foreign Dawn poster would be.
What about the one with Roger's head tilting forward? You know what I'm talking about? It's like three pictures.
The video, the Bob Michelucci video store poster.
Yeah.
The one I got right back here.
Yes.
You can see it. Yeah, that's a good one. Which Matt just got that poster in the other day. He sent me a message and he was thrilled about that because those are pretty hard to find, especially in good condition. The one he got is in fantastic condition. Mine's in terrible condition, but I got a good deal on it. So I was like, I've always wanted one, and this dude's taking nothing for it, so I'll buy it.
Can't argue with that.
But yeah, that one's good. I'm trying to think of it. May be that one. I think it's an Italian poster. It's the fun. It's got like the artwork, and it's got all the zombies on the cover, and they're all like reaching here and there. And it's got the airport zombie, and it looks like he's wearing a yellow raincoat or something, and his arms are 1,000 feet in the air. I don't know. It's a weird. It's a weird.
I don't have
I don't know. I have it on the ceiling over here, but I can't show it. But since we had one night last week that was 26 degrees Fahrenheit, very cold for coastal North Cali. Yeah. Which that's kind of been the regular temperature around here for us. It's around 20, 25, 30 degrees. Yeah, Dick Miller, Stuga's Terminator Gunshop dude is legendary Dick Miller. Yeah, also in Gremlins 2. He was in a bunch of shit back in the day. I was trying to think of his name, but yeah, Dick Miller.
He was in Pulp Fiction too, but he cut a scene out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, remember they take the body in the car to the chop shop or whatever? He owned the metal garage.
Oh.
That took the car to dispose of the body. He owned it.
I did not know that.
So it's Harvey Keitel and Dick Miller doing this little scenes. Pretty good. I don't know why they cut it out.
Synth, I think you're thinking of a different Sting. Sting is into tantric sex. Watch out. Wrong Sting. Although he did mention the police earlier, so it's all kind of coming back around. So
there's a reason why he said red light all the time. EO, EO.
Whoa. Coincidence Control. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. It says I love Land of the Dead. So we got some Land of the Dead love coming in tonight.
Oh yeah.
Since I really wanted to like Land of the Dead, it was better than later Romero zombie stuff. But at the time, I was depressed as I left the theater. I wasn't depressed, but I was just kind of trying to process it. Like I was like I like some of it, but some of it was just like That's how I left. It's just more like I don't know, not confused, but in a internal battle with myself. I don't know.
Was it because it was rated by any chance?
No, not really. Like, because when I saw the unrated version, I was like, I kind of like the R-rated version better. Because I feel like some of the scenes that they put back in were just kind of unnecessary, and kind of didn't fit. Kind of didn't work for me. Like the scene when Cholo goes up to the apartment and sees the guy hanging from the ceiling, and that whole scene, that scene's a little wonky for me. Coincidence Control says, I watched Day of the Dead at a very young age. I was 10 when Land came out, and it blew me away. You're a youngster there. Hey, there's an old familiar name, Sean Scart God Sikowski. What's up, buddy? Good to see you again. Hey, guys, what's up? I was wondering about you. I think I mentioned you on last week's stream. Just talking about locals in the Pittsburgh area, because I know you're up in the Braddock area. So hope you're doing well, man. Glad you're able to stop in. Yeah, that's a phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range. 40 watts is not that much. Oh, James Cameron. Synth coming in with the random knowledge there. So Rick's Land of the Dead fan. Since then, the Taiwans are great. Yeah, I love those. They're just so goofy. Steven says, if you really want to see Craig T. Nelson play a bad guy, check out the Osterman Weekend, a very talented cast, and Sam Peckinpah's final film. I don't know. Have you seen that one?
I forgot about that film. It's been a long time. But yeah, he's right. Because people know Greg as Coach, you know. They don't know him as a serious actor all that much.
Yeah. Excuse me. Rick says, there is a zombie-like movie made in the UK. I saw it on Prime Video, which I thought was pretty good.
28 Days Later, by any chance?
I don't know. Which one are you talking about there, Rick? I do love 28 Days Later.
Coming to find out, I got the 2-disc Blu-ray of that, or DVD of that. That's like $300 online now.
Yeah, both the Blu-ray and the DVD are going for huge
Yeah.
money. So I still have a copy of, but that's it's funny. The Blu-ray for 28 Days Later, I've been finding a lot recently at um um Mega Replay, stuff like that. I buy them for like $6-7, and then just flip them on eBay, and it's $50-$60. Now they're going for even more because the new one's
Yeah.
coming out. It's like Jesus Christ, and it's just because there's not nobody knows if it's going to get a different
Yeah.
release because it was shot on DV and it looks like shit anyway. So
Yeah.
there's no point in doing like a 4K or anything, unless
Like I said,
unless they use AI or something, you
yeah.
know.
Like I said, I got the 2 disc set with the slip cover and all that.
Probably gets pretty good money for that one. Since I got the Don Thorne EMI poster in 1984, was dirt cheap. That must have been nice. Coincidence Control says probably 8 when I first saw Day of the Dead. For any Canadians in here who remember the TV channel Scream, it's very cool. I was probably a little lower than that. I was probably 8 or 9 when I first saw Savini's Night of the Living Dead, because that was the first zombie film I ever watched. And I was probably I guess I'd have probably been closer to 10, because it had probably been like 98 when I first saw that, because I was right around the time when I was getting into Resident Evil 1 and 2 and all that.
TNT used to show it a lot. Remember Joe Bob Briggs?
Oh yeah, yeah. We used to watch that all the time too. I used to love when they'd have the fucking marathons,
Yes.
like the Friday the 13th marathon, the
Yeah.
Halloween marathon, all like this shit. That's where I learned. They used to play Phantasm all the time, like all the Phantasm movies
Yeah.
on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day, and we would just eat those up.
Good times.
Mm-hmm. Rick says it was about a woman and her husband in a failing marriage who drove to their secluded college in the English countryside. Well, what the hell was it called? He says not 20 Days Later, something different. It doesn't ring a bell for me. I remember Zombie Honeymoon back in the day. That was like a big deal for some reason. I remember back in the day, like everybody's like, "Oh, you got to see Zombie Honeymoon." Like, all right. Sean saying sad news about Monroeville Mall. Saw it coming, but still bummed. Yeah, I'm trying to come on here and have a fun stream tonight, talking about collecting and all that stuff, and we're just hit with bad news. Tired of talking about bad news, guys. I'm tired of talking about Monroeville Mall. I'm tired of talking about, losing people, like deaths and shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the whole situation? Do you think it's first of all, do you think there's any hope for? Because I did see that somebody had started a petition on change.org that people are passing around and signing. Do you think there's any hope that mall still exists past the next couple of years? And
They already have a plan, or they wouldn't have bought it.
yeah, and it dawned on me after reading the article from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, when the guy from Cypress Equity said that they were contacted about this whole thing going down back in October. Yeah. I was like, oh, so yeah, this has been in the works for quite a while. So, but on the other end of that, are you going to get your ass to Monroeville this year?
Unless something comes up, that's the plan.
Good. I expect to see you there, sir. Are you going to Living Dead weekend?
Yeah.
All right. Hold you to it. You got to get there, man. You got to get there before it's too late.
Or wait till the mall closes and break in and take a video.
Well, I already said the other night on the stream, I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm getting up on the roof. Like, I'm getting to the roof. Like, I'll bring a pair of coveralls and a ladder, and I'll just tell them I'm there to work on the heating ducts or something. I don't fucking know, but I'm getting up there. John said I first saw Night 90 on Joe Bob. Didn't Joe Bob premiere Night 90 and then had all the original cast members from Night of the Living Dead? I think I remember seeing that video. I wasn't old enough to see it live, but I remember seeing the video of that.
It's on YouTube, actually.
Okay.
Last time I looked, it was, yeah.
Rick saying the film's title was something like Dead by Daylight or something. I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar to me. Brett saying George and Sam Peckinpah both had realistic violence, and sometimes I wonder if one was inspired by the other. George has talked about his that Peckinpah was an inspiration, particularly for the crazies. I do remember hearing George talk about the gore and the blood and the crazies. He was like, I remember him saying something like, the crazies is bloody, but it's not the same type of bloody as like a Dawn of the Dead or something like that. It's more of a Peckinpah type where it's just a lot of squibs and blood, getting shot. So yeah, George has mentioned Sam Peckinpah's work before in the past, and the influence that it had on his work. So, because Peckinpah was kind of the first guy to use like that realistic, like squib gunshots and shit like that. Since I have the upgraded Canon SD cam used in 28 days just before HD, online AI upres tools are amazing to make stuff HD res or more. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like if they could do a 4K or something of 20 days later and using AI, I'm sure it's something they're looking into, especially now that the new film's coming out this year. Of doing a new release of 20, because I mean that Blu-ray looks terrible. Like it just does. Like it's just that movie just does not lend itself to Blu-ray. But yeah, if they did something, I'd be interested. Like I'm not a huge, I don't know. Do you have thoughts on the whole AI thing and where that's headed in the future? Because I'm not the biggest fan of it, but if they could use it to do something like that, I'm all for it. I'll check it out. But
at some point, it'd be all they're going to use.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
A producer who, a writer who,
yeah, it's just AI.
Camera group who,
I feel like at some point we're going to be able to just use AI to just make our own movies. We're not even going to be watching the same shit. We're just going to be in our own house, in our room, just our own screen, and just type in, I want to watch a movie about such and such that does this and this and this, and then AI is going to make it, and you can just create your own shit. And
we could AI George's full script per day.
That I wouldn't be shocked. That'll happen one day. I guarantee goddamn to you that'll happen. Or the Resident Evil script, they'll bring that to life.
Hey Greg, you still on here? Just gave you an idea there.
Invest in AI.
Instead of Gut Boy, be AI guy.
AI guy. There you go. Quincy Cross said, all this zombie movie talk. I randomly remembered the movie Zombie Strippers. There you go. There's a good one. Didn't that have Robert Englund in it? Wasn't he in that?
Yep.
Yeah. And Jenna Jameson, I think, was in that too. Classic. Since sadly Walmart has ruined more small, medium, large American businesses than any other entity. Hopefully they will be gentle with Monroeville Mall, but not with their track record. Yeah, we can hope, but like, sorry, I mean to keep clearing my throat, but but I like when you heard like that. Oh, Cypress Equities is buying it. They're a real estate company, whatever. It's like, oh, maybe they're buying it for the mall. Like they want to keep it a mall. They'll probably do some upgrades and blah blah blah. So like there was like hope, but then when I heard Walmart, I was just like, nah, there's no fucking way. Walmart's gonna do what they want to do with it and be damned with everything else. So. Sam Peckinpah sure loved his violence. He did. And Brett says Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch could possibly be an honorable mention for a must watch for Romero fans. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. I didn't even think of that one. That's a good one.
Didn't Quentin Tarantino say that's his favorite movie of all time?
Oh yeah, I don't remember if he said it's his favorite movie of all time. He may have. I'm not saying he didn't, but I have heard he's talked about that movie a bunch over the years. He's definitely a huge Wild Bunch fan, and you can definitely see it, the inspiration that he drew from Peckinpah and the Wild Bunch in particular. But yeah, I guess we're about all caught up on the comments here. Any final departing words? I'll have you back. We'll try to get the full scope of the cabin look. I bumped because there's so much, and I was trying to get all the photos and stuff downloaded here, but it's too much going on. Trying to get one by one. So,
well, I'll tell everybody it's my fault. I thought my phone could handle it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Just blame me.
We'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. But do you want to plug your channel? You got check out your channel, Ed Traders Music and Entertainment. What all you got coming up on that? What are you working on? And just kind of point everybody in that direction.
Well, I have a series called The Analogs of Anarchy. Yes, I stole the name for Sons of Anarchy. We all steal stuff, right? And my VHS collection, I'm going through it, rewatching it, and my commentary, adding a few funny thoughts and comments. Everything from commercials to interviews to just plain old crap. But it's good. It's good crap.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you're not going to see anywhere. It's not getting re-released anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of it's like a time capsule. A lot of this stuff a lot of stuff I've never even heard or seen before. Like I think you did like some stuff with Johnny Cash. You did something for the JFK stuff here recently. And you did a Romero video here recently with some like TV footage, some like when like Knight Riders being shown. I think it was on like HBO or something like that.
Showtime. They paired it with some other movie, but I forget what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was either, but yeah, it's cool. It just kind of takes you back to that time, like I miss recording shit off of TV when getting all the commercials and all the ads and the. It's like we talked about the fucking IFC showing when they showed Dawn of the Dead with John Lydon, Johnny Rotten intro.
Yeah.
Like I want to find that somewhere someday because I remember it vividly and I used to have it, but it's fucking lost to time.
I also have original documentaries I made on music and stuff. If you're an Ozzy fan or Black Sabbath fan, check out my channel right now. You won't regret it.
Very cool. Is that your favorite? Who's your favorite musical artist or band?
Them right there.
Ozzy, Sabbath. Do you feel do you feel like Ozzy's health wise? Do you think he's got much longer? I hate to say that, but
you ain't heard the news.
The last I heard is that he's unable to walk.
No, they're planning a show for July.
Are you fucking serious?
Black Sabbath with Bill Ward, the drummer, is reuniting. They're going to do a one-off show in Aston Villa, July 5th.
Where is it going to be?
Aston Villa, it's in Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
It's a soccer stadium. There's a whole bunch of Metallica is going to be there. There's a whole bunch of other bands. It's going to be a full charity event going towards Parkinson's research. And Ozzy is going to do a solo set and a set with Sabbath. Now, he has admitted he's going to be in a like throne type thing. But he said his voice is just as good as it's ever been. So, But he did admit
that'd be pretty cool. I do
he's going to be sitting down. He did admit that already. He's already said that.
Well, I guess it's going to be kind of like a farewell type thing, too. Because I mean, there's no way he's going to keep playing because he's not.
Yeah, it's going to be last go around. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last Genesis tour, Phil Collins sat down the whole tour. He didn't drum or anything. He just sat and sang. I'm serious. Baby King was the same way the last 20 years of his life. He would sit down, play guitar, and sing, and that was it.
Yeah.
David Allan Cole, he sits down and plays now.
Yeah, I guess if you can do it, if I can do it, it's just weird because like Ozzy, man, you just think Ozzy's like the ultimate front man, the guy that gets it going. You know, it's just I don't know.
But he had Parkinson's, a shoulder injury, and back surgery at the same time. Just all three, and he's 75 years old too. I mean,
and a hard 75.
Yes.
Too. not a normal 75. His 75 is like.
He should not be alive.
No,
he should not be alive.
And he'll tell you that. He's like, I should have died years ago. Like, it's a miracle that I'm here.
I mean, Bon Scott, gone. John Bonham, gone. Jimi Hendrix, gone. He should have been gone in 1970 with everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
He should have been at 27 Club.
Yeah, at least. God, some of the stories. But I love Ozzy. I'll always remember Ozzy personally because first girlfriend I ever had in middle school. First girl, I was sitting in choir and I was like kind of a metal kid, so I had like I don't know a Slipknot shirt or something on. And she comes over and she sits down next to me and she's like, "Hey, would you bite the head off of a bat to meet Ozzy?" And I was like, "Yes, I would." And it sparked up our relationship from that point on. So I'll never forget that.
He didn't bite the head off, though.
Yeah, I know. It
was a dove.
Yeah. But that was always the stories like he bit the head off bats or
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know why she asked me that, but I was like, yes, I would.
yeah. It's a
Um,
good question. It's a good question.
it's a good conundrum to be in.
But yeah, if you
Um,
like music documentaries, I got a couple I've done myself on there. A lot of good stuff.
Very cool. And
I,
that's
I,
at
I'm proud
what?
of it, anyways.
Yeah, I got the link down in the description. It's at Ed. What
Yeah,
is it?
Ed Trader, music and entertainment.
There you go. So yeah, the link's down in the description, guys. So check that out. Got a couple more comments here. Came in. Since says Greg's work already incorporates green screen elements for the CGI team to make transparencies and such. No AI needed. So there you go. Coincidence Control says the in shootout and the Wild Bunch holds up so well. The editing is incredible. Sean says I worked at Walmart 15 minutes down the hill. They have one of them in Roeville area. Yeah, that's kind of and I said this the other night. First time I was in Monroeville, that's like the one thing I noticed. I was like, man, there's no, which coming from like where I grew up, like there's a Walmart in every town. Like they've infiltrated. So going, being in Monroeville and being like, oh man, there's no Walmart here. Like that's kind of, conspicuous. So I should have seen that coming. That if anybody was going to buy that mall, Walmart had for sure been trying to get into that fucking town for a long time.
It's like dollar stores here; they're everywhere.
Oh, forget about it. Dollar stores, they pop up. You don't even see them being constructed.
Yeah.
It's like one day
Like-
it's a corner, the next day it's a fucking Dollar General. It's like Jesus. It takes them no time at all. And then they just throw a bunch of shit in there and never put it on the shelves, and they just have like everything's in the middle of the aisles, and it's just like, what is going on? Since his Wild Bunch is fun, Straw Dogs is nuts. Randy Rhodes is sorely missed.
Yes.
Yeah. He talk about dying way too young. Like that dude way before he should be.
And it wasn't his fault either. It wasn't his fault, just Pilot.
Yeah, I know. Y'all like Jeremiah Johnson? I'm not familiar. Familiar with Jeremiah Johnson?
Country singer?
I'm not sure.
Sounds like a country singer.
Yeah, it does kind of. Since says one of my favorite Ozzy moments is when he finds an ARP 2600 in his attic on the TV show and swears constantly he can't get a good sound out of it.
That is the instrument he played on Black Sabbath Volume 4. No, I'm serious, and they found it and he couldn't get it to work properly. It used to be Stevie Wonder's.
That's funny.
Yep, it's the Osbournes. I remember that show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the Osbournes. I'm getting back on it now. It's funny because he's just like wandering around the house, just like, what the fuck is wrong with you goddamn people? It's like, yeah, I'm with you. That's how I feel walking around my house now.
He's real though. You see footage before then, it's the same guy.
Oh yeah,
always been that way.
I love in The Decline of Western Civilization.
Yeah,
part 3.
breakfast.
And he's making breakfast and he's spilling orange juice everywhere, and he's like, I forget what the fucking line was, but it's talking about, oh yeah, I've done all the drugs and all this stuff, and he's like, are you still doing drugs? And he's like, well, yeah, or something like that. I can't remember what the fucking line was, but yeah, that's a hilarious scene too. Sticker says, damn, I'm 13 minutes behind the thing. This thing might be over. No, we're still going. Sean says Ozzy will be on the throne, Grohl and actually used for sure. The throne, Grohl and actually used. Oh yeah,
when Axel broke his leg.
Yeah, and David Grohl fell off the stage. I remember that. Sticker says, no, Jeremiah Johnson is a great pseudo-western movie from late 70s. I think I've never seen that. Never heard of it. Jeremiah Johnson. Actually, now that you said it, does sound kind of familiar because I thought that name sounded weird, but I've never seen the movie, so I don't really know anything about it. But yeah, I may have seen that before. Well,
Dive, I'm a Billy Jack fan. You know who Billy Jack is?
Oh yeah,
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford and Jeremiah Johnson. Okay. And since I avoid Walmart at all costs for ethical reasons, but in Cali it was the only major store. Yeah, that's kind of how it is around here. It's like I'd love to go somewhere else, but that's the appeal of Walmart. It's like it has everything you need in one spot. It's like one-stop shopping, everything you need right at your fingertips, as Roger would say.
And they sell records again. You know?
That's true too. Yeah. And it's one of the only places left that still sells physical media in general. Like Best Buy doesn't sell anything around here. Target really doesn't have anything left around here. And like Walmart's the only place that still has like new releases of like steel books and 4Ks and shit that you can actually go and get now. So, but Ed, it's been fun, man. It's been a fun conversation. Thank you for coming on tonight. I had a really good time. I'm glad we got the technical kinks worked out, and hopefully next time you can take us into the cabin and show us everything. So,
well, once again, I apologize, everybody. I just thought my phone could handle it.
well, we'll get it worked out for next time. But appreciate it anyways, my man. But yeah, check out Ed's channel. It's Ed Traders Music and Entertainment. Check it out. The link is down in the description, so you won't be able to miss it. And yeah, I think that's it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Ed's channel. Make sure
you want to hear one quick story how I got that name?
Yeah, go for it.
People think I got it because E-Trader and my name is Ed Trader. That's not it. When I was trading tapes in the 90s, I got my first email address like in 1999. And I got an email from somebody in Germany asking me, am I Ed the Trader? Somebody want to trade VHS tapes with me. So I was like, Ed the Trader. I took the out, and I was Ed Trader. I've been that way for over 25 years now.
Hey, it works, man. It works. It works. That's another thing I'd like to talk to you about too, is just like tape trading and stuff, because that's kind of a lost art that a lot of people don't really do anymore. But yeah, very, very cool. But thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. I'll see you again here soon. You guys have a great rest of the week, great rest of the night. And as always, stay scared.